Hello and welcome to Racing Dudes After Dark. We are going to cover the early pick five, and I got a bunch of static in my ear, and I got all sorts of crazy stuff going on. How's it going over there, Nick? Nice to see you back.
It's going great. Yeah, good to be back. Happy Friday. Kick off the weekend with some Del Mar action. Very exciting.
It's the best. Have you been playing Del Mar recently, or this year, anyways?
Haven't been playing Del Mar that much, although seems like with all the issues Saratoga's having, it seems like maybe that's the better move. But I'm excited to kind of see what's going on this Friday with Del Mar. What about you?
Great. I've played 3 bets at Saratoga all year and lost a whole bunch of money at Del Mar, but have been close. And every pick 5, and then the 3 pick 5s I didn't play, I would have hit if I played the ticket I had designed, but they were too expensive, and I'm not going to play a $300 ticket and, with the thought of like, oh, I'm going to make $500 or I'm going to lose 300. So it was kind of that. Yeah, not really the move I was after. So are you playing the pick 5 today? Did you get a pick 5 ticket figured out?
Yeah, I guess I could play I got some A and B choices laid out, so maybe not the most organized, but we can obviously go through them and talk about them. You know me, I don't love the pick 5s. I like to try to let's hammer these doubles or something and see what we can do.
I'm going to say that's probably my better bet at this point. Dr. Tang did send me his pick 5, and I had no audio when we started here, so I was trying to get that all straightened out, and so I'm still getting the Equibase figured out. So let me see if I can't present that. Well, do you have an opinion in this first race of a bunch of 2-year-olds? Did you look at this one at all?
No, I looked at it. Sorry, I'm just looking at my notes. I have the 6 and 7 written down as A kind of A horses who I'd want on my more pressed ticket. The 6, I like. Last time it ran for $50,000. Now they've stepped up to $100,000. I love second time starters in these maiden races. A lot of times there's just so much, especially if the horse kind of ran average the first time. You got to think that now they're going to step it up in class after it ran average. So to me, maybe this second time out, we'll see a lot of improvement. I think if I remember correctly, I think the public has bet this 6 horse pretty hard already. So I think everybody kind of likes it. Yeah, it's already 8-5. So, and then the 7 for me, I really, I don't like to watch replays, or I should say workouts that much, because I don't even, that was a great workout, whatever it is. So I know there's people that watch workouts or maybe they get clocker reports. For me, I have my own thoughts on looking at workout times and just seeing patterns. We've talked about this before, but the 7 for a first-time starter in a race like this has 3 5-furlong 101 workouts, which is what I call to me, that's a very professional workout from a horse. It feels like the horse is probably doing what they've asked it to do. And then it also has some 4 furlong 47s, which to me seem like it's got some speed in it. And they've asked it to kick and go on those half-mile workouts. And it's got quite a bit. It's been working very consistently since late May. So to me, I like the 7 a lot too. So those are my top 2 choices.
Yeah, I kind of followed you there, and I'm the 2 and the 6. I had a little bit of like for the 3 and the 4, but if I'm looking at a pick 5 tickets, like I'm either going to use the 2 and the 6, or I'm going to use all of them. And at that point, like I'm going to toss the 2 that I like the most, because I don't want to use those 2 because they're probably going to be the shortest prices, because they're the 2 that have actually ran. So I kind of landed like everybody else is probably going to land, is the 2 that ran recently against one another, ran second and third, now running back. One's going to finish first, one's going to finish second. The 3 did come out of Gulfstream, I believe. I'm still trying to figure out my notes here. Yeah, it came out of shipping from Gulfstream and owned by Bob Hess Jr. So I kind of wonder if he was planning to run that one in the one at Gulfstream just to get the ship and win money. So I had a little bit of I'll put a little taste of the 3 on there as well. But I don't know. I'm probably not playing this pick 3. I like the middle, the pick 3 in this one, like the second, third, and fourth leg seems to make a lot of sense to me in the terms of what I like. So the second race was a $20,000 claimer for 3 and up and a mile on the dirt. The dirt has been playing pretty speed favoring, as is the case at one most dirt tracks, but California especially. But this one seems to have really shifted recently, so I'm looking for one in the front. Did you have a particular horse you liked here?
Yeah, I liked the 6 and the 8. I think are my A choices here in the second race. The 6. Let me. Wrong race here. So the 6 is stretching out, and I think that he should set a really good trip here. He's got some good speed figures. Just really like him in this spot. So I'm probably going to start off with in the last race, a 6-7, and then into the 6, a double, and then also into this 8. The 8 looks like it could potentially, although Robert Diodoro to me seems, I never win with him. So, but I don't know, based on its increasing speed figures and in the races it's run, I do think it is a pretty good horse. Could be pretty tough here.
Yeah, that I was sort of against the 8 because if the price doesn't mean it's not going to win, and probably means it's going to win because it's taking all the money. But I was kind of liking the 2 in that speed favoring track. I think the 2 may actually just be able to get the lead, and it's only ran. I don't have it. Not a bunch of races this year, if I'm getting this correct, but I thought that one had a chance of being out on the lead. It's ran a bunch this year. Don't listen to me. And then I also like the 6 with you. I kind of think those are the 2 that can get out in front and go gate to wire. I'm going to probably, if my pick 5 ticket had the 8 because I was going to single in the next race, I'm probably just going to not play a pick 5 in all honesty, but we'll see. But I had the 8 too, just because if I do get the single in the next, I was like, well, I'm not going to die because I was going to take a stand against Robert Diodoro shipping to Del Mar. So I was on the 2, 6, and 8. And then the 1, Mr. T's Thirsty, kind of afraid that one would be the one that comes and picks up the pieces if the 2, 6, and 8 all burn each other out. So kind of a closer angle I was hoping for. So 2, 6, and 8 kind of on the front end, 1 picking up pieces and maybe do a exact trifecta in that way, put the 1 kind of in the second and third spots and maybe do something like that. So did you have other ones in this race other than the
No, we covered it. I have my B I have written down as the 2. So
we'll be quick onto the third. Yeah. This is the one that I think you got a couple of choices here. I mean, obviously you have 9, but I think there was a couple that actually had a legitimate shot of winning. Maiden special 3 and up, going 5 on the turf. I've moved my feelings here of not wanting closures to wanting ones on the front end. So I'm going to try and play a little more of the speed type here. Who are you looking at here?
My top pick was, or my A's, I should say, are the 8 and the 10. And I like the 8 because of the connections. Juan Hernandez is kind of really, since Pratt left, he's really just kind of dominated out here. Again, this is a situation where this is a horse who is going to be making its second start. Its first start, it was like gigantic odds, and it ran, okay. I expect there to be some improvement, but for me, now that you've seen some bullet works with this horse and you're seeing the jockey get on, and then you're coming against, I don't know how good this field's going to be, so I expect him to run pretty well.
Yeah, that was. I'm basically in my pick 5 that I drew up. I was going to take a stand here and say, with a 5-2 shot. So really, really going out on a limb. But I like the 3 Grand Tiger. Thought that it may just be the fastest in going 5 furlongs. When ran on the turf first out at Santa Anita, then came back and ran on the dirt. Was the favorite in both of those races. So it kind of feels like it's either not going to win ever or it's going to find a softer spot. And I kind of felt like this was the softer spot. The 10 was the other one that I was sort of liking with Davey here. Seems like it's, like he says, too short of a price. But I also thought that if it broke right, it would also maybe be on the lead. And cutting back from a mile to 5 furlongs kind of felt like if it gets the jump, maybe it goes gate to wire. So my idea was a single on the 3. If not, I'd probably do a 310. And at that point, I start getting into 5 horses in a $200 ticket that a pick 5 that's going to end up paying $300. And it was just like, I'll pick a single, and this one I felt the most confident in. I love short turf races, so why don't I single in those races? Oh wait, I'll wait till the 2-year-old race to do that, I guess. So
yeah, I'm just gonna play some. It looks like maybe instead of playing a double, I'm actually gonna extend this out and play a pick 3 here to start. And I just played 2 tickets. I played one for $5 and one for $1, and my $5 pick 3 is 6-7. With 268 with 8, and then I came back with $1 with 6-7 with 268 with 310. So, kind of using all of the horses that we talked about.
Yep. So they're a minute from post, and I haven't even written up Dr. Tang's ticket. So he sent a pick 5 that I will post somewhere. But if it does hit, I will give him credit because he did post it beforehand, or he gave it to us beforehand. But my inability to hear on here was going to be a little bit of an issue of trying to have a conversation and me not able to hear. So I was like, well, sorry, Doc Tang, I'm gonna wait for that. So they're a minute to post. It looks like they're coming up here. And the 6 is 8-5, 6-5, 8-5, and the 2 is 5-2. The 5 was the one in this first race. I'll slide it back real quick so we don't just see it. Ready to Storm, the 5. First time starter. Wasn't one that I was, way against, but seeing that it took so much money, I was like, well, maybe that's one that I can pretend to have an opinion not to play. But hard to be too far against Doug O'Neill as a first-time starter. So, I went with the other O'Neill, basically with the 6 and 2 were the 2 that I kind of landed on.
Yeah, it seems of late when the trainer has 2 in the race, just pick the one at the higher odds, though. So I wouldn't be shocked if this 5 just runs off the screen here.
Yeah. Who is O'Neill's main rider in Del Mar? It seemed, or in Santa Anita or Southern California, I should say. Does he have one of these? Like, that's when Doug O'Neill has a good one, he gets this rider. Is there one that you know
I used to always think it was Mario Gutierrez, but I don't know how much he's riding anymore.
Yeah. I've been trying to pay attention to that just to have that opinion of when there are 2, like, oh, he went with this one. So that's the one that in theory they like more, but I don't know. Maldonado and Fresu are both fine. I don't, the only rider in Southern California that I have a big opinion on is Juan Hernandez. They're breaking, and the 2 is out to the short lead, 3 and 4 running alongside.
Looks like, yeah. Looks like everybody's got a chance except for maybe this one.
Yeah. And the 5. Let's say the 5 doesn't have a chance, so I can feel like I know what I was talking about. So 2's fighting back. 3 took a small lead, and the 2's fought back a little bit. 4, 6, and 7 are all kind of sitting right behind, and the 6 is starting to move, and looks like he's got a lot of run in him. We'll see if he has a spot down towards the rail.
I don't know if anybody's
hit the top of the stretch. Yeah.
We'll see if the 6 can catch the 2. Oh, my screen froze, so I have no idea who's winning.
Yeah, the 2 is being asked pretty hard. The 6 is not being asked, but making up small ground at the 16th pole. The 6 is starting to get there. 6 pulls off at the end. So 6 wins by, let's call it a half, and beats the 2, who looks like it was getting pretty tired at the front end there. So the 2 that came as the 2 that raced against each other kind of run back. The 6 Ace of Clubs wins and ran 3rd last time, if I'm not mistaken, and beats the 2 Eligio, who Eligio, the 2 in this race, beat the 6 Ace of Clubs by 5 lengths last time. So that's always fun.
It looks like JT Brew hit a win place and an exacta here to start.
Yeah, nice. With a single in the next. So he's going to single a big Suede in the second race, going a mile on the dirt. That was one that you and I both kind of landed on as well. So hope we didn't jinx you too much, JT. That seems like the Nick curse could be in full effect there when you're super excited about getting through. So I think you'll get a decent price.
We're giving out. We like the 6. He won. I've got a double into that 6 and the pick 3, so
it's true.
I hope it wins.
I'm always just afraid that we get the first one in. We're all proud of ourselves of hitting a 9 to 5, and then we hit that second one. It's like, oh, okay. And then, he's got the all button, so he'll be okay. But the problem is, that the 3 to 5 somehow shows up there and wins and kind of knocks out that price. But, we'll see.
It's funny because when you start looking at stuff, a lot of times I look at PPs without morning lines. I don't. I've just found it's just better for me. I'll actually include a horse that I probably wouldn't if I do it the opposite way. And you see that 6 and 4 to 1, you like it, and then you realize you tune in 25 minutes before the race and you realize everybody loves it. You're just like,
I hear it 2 to 1.
So I mean, it's good. You get the win, but those are the ones that you wish it could stay hidden at 3 to 1, 4 to 1.
Exactly.
Electric television. The first race is already off. So
just finished the 6. I forgot his name. 6-1 and paid $540. So we'll get back to race 4 here since we didn't really do a pick 5, and Doc's going to show up and yell at us for not giving out his ticket, but I'm pretty sure he had the 6. Yeah, he had it. So he's on the 168 in the second race, which kind of coincides with what you and I were talking about. So nothing too crazy or too original in that second race. So race 4 was the one that makes this for the pick 3 in my world of the second, third, fourth race. The fourth race was hard for me. Going 6 furlongs in the dirt with a California allowance. I think it was one other than a field of 11, kind of a wide open type of thing. Did you have a strong opinion here?
Yeah, I think this would be a win bet single for me. Always get a little scared when the horse is coming off the layoff. But the 8 to me, again, attracts one Hernandez back. He's rode this horse 2 of the last of its 4 times. It's slowly had really good speed figures as a 2-year-old. I use Brisnet, but looking at ran 71, 74, 83, 90, which I love to see those. It's just getting better as it's getting a little bit older and older. We haven't seen it since Del Mar of November last year, where it took second in a 80K optional claimer. So, and it's also run pretty decent, took third in a listed stakes race. And now we're getting the first race at 3-year-old. Could have a lot of development in this horse. And if that happens, I mean, and the horse is ready to come off the layoff, McCarthy's not horrible off the layoff either. So, I mean, I really like this horse. I do think there are some, it's not like it's a lock or anything, but, I think sometimes in these type of races where people are probably going to spread, sometimes if you really like the horse, it's a good time to go, thin. So 8 is my top pick.
Yeah. See, and I was in that same basic boat as you, but I was on the 6, who's also coming off a layoff, also hasn't ran since November at Del Mar, but is a 5-year-old. So have a little bit more development already into it. So hoping to maybe catch the already developed and the first time versus olders for the 8. So, but I was on the 6, 2, 5, and 8, kind of all in that same basic idea of all coming off layoffs, all look like pretty good horses here. So that I went thin in the last race with a 3, so I would go a little wider here. I may actually fire back with a pick 4 because now that I'm talking about it, I'm laying on the same picks basically as Nick is, so that means I'm at least in the same ballpark. And I was pretty close to Somich too, as it turns out. He just had 2 that I just didn't see at all, and they were short prices. But when Somich picks low price horses, I always get a little nervous. Maybe I shouldn't be looking for prices. He knows what he's doing better than I do in those. So
when was this? Who did he pick?
I believe it was the 4th race. I'll have to go back and double check. But yeah, I think it was this race. He was on the one before. He was on the 1 in this
race 3.
In race 3. He liked to double jab, and so did Aaron. And so it's just like when those two like a 3-1, I'm always a little nervous about like, I'm going to take a stand against that one horse. It's the one horse I'm like, toss that one. So I'm always a little bit like, oh, that's not the best of choices, but it's not like we all hit all the time, and they unfortunately hit more than I do. So I kind of defer to them when they come to the same, land on the same place. So we'll look at this last one, race 5. Main special weight, 5 furlongs on the turf for 2-year-olds. I think only the 7 had ran previously, and then the 11, 12, and 13 are all scratched. The 7 had ran once on dirt, or twice on dirt, at 17-1 and 46-1, and never finishing better than 5th. So I don't know if you get anything out of that, or if you lose anything like that. So you have an opinion here in a 2-year-old turf race.
I would say sometimes these Calbred races, I've known, I'll even race 1. I sometimes struggle with this stuff, but to me, I was honestly on the 8 or the 1 is my A picks, and then I wrote down the 9 and the 7 as well. So 7, like you said, has previous experience. Also it's 30-1. So for me as a B, I don't see why that wouldn't be a good idea. And then the 9 coming off its last work, bullet 4 furlong 47 from the gate. One of those type of horses in this race, if he hits the front and there's no other runners in a race like this, that's sometimes that's good enough to just hold on and win, and then 8-1. So to me, this looks like, unless we get to this race and there's something the public knows that we don't, right? Yeah. So that's what's interesting about a race like this when it's in the 5th in the sequence. For all we know, that we're going to get there and the 4 is 5-1 because somebody heard about a workout or connections let it out. But to me, I was on 1, 8, and 9 in this spot, and then 7 if you're playing, if you're playing like ABC type things.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things about this race that was interesting is that there is no trainer here that's like, oh, that's the trainer that's going to get all the money, right? There's no Baffert on the dirt here. There's no Peter Miller. There's no DiNardo. It's like, oh, these are just like your run-of-the-mill, normal, day-to-day Southern California trainers, and they're all in a mid and special weight with no other big trainer. So I got a little nervous here, one, because I don't know anything about 2-year-olds and nothing about turf, so I'm always a little bit like, just throw a dart. But look at the workouts, and I don't even watch them. I just look at times, and the 1 and 2 were the 2 that kind of landed for me. I like Quinn Howey shipping down to Southern California with a horse for a first start, because he's based in Northern California. So that one got me a little interested. 4-1 wasn't the greatest of prices, but I was on the 1 and the 2, which are like, all right, they're logical, and everybody else is probably going to be on them. So, either they're going to go off at 9-5 and 8-5, or they're going to go off at 4-1 and be pretty bad. So not a whole lot of extra there. So I know we were talking about the last couple of races, but we'll run back to the second, because I know we kind of hopped on a little bit late and weren't able to do the whole what we normally do for posting tickets and things, but we'll get to the 5th race here in 5:30 on Pacific time. So a couple hours still. We got time to get back to that one, and no real live tickets running. So on the second, you were on the big Swede, the 6, right? That was the one you liked, and the 8 as well.
I liked the is this one is taking a ton of money.
Yeah.
Let's see. He's going to be the second choice. Oh, no, the third choice in the double. But is he the third choice anyway? So maybe.
He was. We had 9-5 on the morning line for the 8. Yeah. So he was second or third choice. There was 2 foot 4-1 and 2 and 5-1. So took a little bit of money. Nothing, not some outrageous amount, I don't believe. I'm shocked that Diodoro isn't taking more money. The 8, it was 9-5 on the morning line and 3-1 currently.
He'll get hammered. He'll get hammered late. Yeah. He's the favorite in the double. So
that's okay. That makes sense.
I mean, I like, the 6 is my top. If I had to pick like the win bet here, I would pick it. I know he likes to come off the pace a little bit, but when he's run at a mile, he's shown that he sits just right off the speed. He's been claimed quite a bit. And I don't know. I like him. I like this jockey. I think it's pretty good. I don't know a lot about him, but I've seen his name pop up recently. And Car Ramrod likes this jockey as well, even though he's talking about a different race. But so that's good.
Close enough. Same jockey, different horse. We went a little quick, so we're screwing with everybody at this point. So I was on the 6 as well, but I actually like the 2 the most, and not because of some like great idea, other than I think it's going to go kind of gate to wire, and whichever one can get the lead. I was kind of hoping to be the one that was in there at the end, so I landed on the 2 Divine Feminine. He felt like a one that could get the lead, and I was, excited to see 12-1. So that was kind of my sneaky, maybe I'll get that sort of price there. Got gelded away, a ways back. So never mind. I thought he was first off or second off. But one last time over at Los Al going a mile and a 12K claimer. So now stepping up to some degree to a 20. I don't think there's some huge jump to a 20 grand claimer. I know they do go down to 8 here at Del Mar, but I think it's more of a distance thing, and having the 2 win last out going a mile, I think there's kind of something there. And I'm with you on the 6. Like if the 2 doesn't get the lead, I kind of feel like the 1's going to. My fear is that the 8's going to also go, and that's what's going to set the 1 up to come in and close. So I had some ideas of 2, 6, 8 to win with the 1 in second and third, and kind of play around with a pick 3 or a trifecta there. So somewhere in that line is where I'll probably end up playing, but I'm interested in the doubles, which I haven't looked at yet because I've been talking too much. But I know you were live in the doubles here, right?
Yeah, I played a pick 3 and a double, so I went 6-7 into the 6 for $10. So I'm alive to this 6 for 10, which is paying $26.40. So that'd be a nice little. They're for $2 though, so I gotta divide. I hate that. I always hate that. So it's half that, so $130 double.
Okay, not bad.
Still good.
We'll welcome in Dr. Tang and see if he can hear us.
Good afternoon. How are you?
All right, great. I was too slow, and I ran into your problem where I couldn't hear anything, so I was unable to put your ticket together. So I'm gonna send it to you to talk for a little bit, and I'll start writing these out. But I know you're live. You had the 4, 5, 6, 7 in the first.
Yes.
You kind of landed on the same basic place that Nick and I did here with the 1, 6, and 8. Which one do you like the best out of this race?
I like the 1, but I guess it's getting pounded now to 9-5. It looks like, but yeah, 1 was my best out of those 3. 1 was my. I thought 1 would get some price, but now it's pounded to less than the 8. So, I think 1 out of those 3 horses. I didn't think it would get pounded down to 9-5 though.
Yeah, with the doubles though, you're looking like you're going to be the 3rd choice. Looks like the 8 will be the favorite. The 6 will be second choice, and the 1 will be a close 3rd choice. So I don't think you're going to get hammered too hard. I mean,
sure,
it's obviously not a for sure science by any means, but it's been pretty accurate at Del Mar. They get enough computer money in both ways that they kind of know what's going to happen here, I would imagine.
Yep.
So I'm going to post a couple of picks here. This is Nick's pick 4. And Dr. Tang, I'll get yours up as well if I can.
Sure, no problem.
I've been here. So have you played you've been playing Del Mar this year? Been playing it pretty frequently?
Yeah, I mean the Saratoga is not that hot, so yeah, I've been playing more Del Mar. I mean, I've been playing I play the pick 5s usually. That's my usual go-to. But yeah, I play it. I mean, it's just the fields are much better than Saratoga, and you can get more prices nowadays. I mean, with Saratoga, with the unpredictability of the turf, and then like yesterday there was a match race. It's just kind of a mess. So it's just hard to invest in those sequences.
It really is.
I correctly picked the match race. I'm just saying.
There we go. Me too. That usually doesn't happen.
I like it. Yeah, I mean, that's been one of the big problems I've seen. I mean, and you were there last week, Nick. So we'll eventually have to talk about what happened at Saratoga last week. But Are you still playing there pretty frequently, Nick? Most of your money going that way?
It's kind of like as frustrating as some of the stuff's been, and I've just been so close a few times at Saratoga, and it gets frustrating. I posted a few, my little complaints, I guess. That's just like normal horse player complaints. But my problem is I don't, it's kind of, I mean, sometimes you can do it, but like when I look at Del Mar, is crazy to me as Saratoga is there's times where I don't watch it close enough, and there's things that happen or horses that win that I just don't get to. And so it just takes a little bit more time to watch more races and kind of understand how the track's playing and what trainer combos and just kind of how things are set up. So I still lean a lot of Saratoga, but still got half the summer left at Del Mar, so plenty of action.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing that I've been noticing about Del Mar is that I wouldn't say the races are better in terms of quality, because you get better horses racing at Saratoga, you get better quality stakes races and that sort of thing. But you get a allowance race at Del Mar, and you get 8 horses that are all pretty even, and you're going to get at worst a 2-to-1 shot for the favorite, so you can find your prices. And so I think it's been a better betting product. So, I made sure to make my speech extra hard. So that's been the one thing I've liked about Del Mar. That and these 4:00 first posts have been awesome, because then you can get home and, drink a margarita, though I don't have one of those yet, but maybe eventually. So, yeah, it's there's a contest 2 weeks ago. The 4-Star Davis tomorrow too, right? At Saratoga?
Yep.
Okay. So I'm sure that's where everybody's going to be talking about too. So,
I played in my first live money contest last weekend when I was on track at Saratoga, the Monmouth Saratoga one. So
yeah,
I'll give you guys an update on how that went.
Yes.
Great. Yeah, I'm playing the 4 stars tomorrow. I've got 2 entries tomorrow, so we'll see how that goes.
And it looks like they're going to be on the turf. At least they were on the turf for most of today. So I would imagine that at least for the stakes races, I would imagine they're on, and they try to get them all on. It seems like they're just trying to get at the worst, the Saturday ones on the turf. So.
Yeah, they took the last 2 at Saratoga off today to preserve, but those were made up. They're low level races. Honestly, I thought the turf looked good today. There wasn't that much like sod being kicked up, getting chewed up. So hopefully it dries out and it's in good shape. So Chad's Carl Spackler won, looked pretty good today. So that was fun to watch him from off the pace, which was surprised a lot of people.
Yeah.
And has they announced that the 10th and the 11th were off early, right? It wasn't like a late taking them off.
Yeah, no, it was before everything.
Before the first race, yeah.
Gotcha. I remember them saying it, and I was like, no, I thought those were the 2 they were keeping on and taking the rest off, but I got it mixed up in my head. Not the first, not the last time I'll do that. Yeah, I mean, these races here where you have a $32,000 or a $20,000 claimer at Del Mar become quite interesting in terms of finding a price, and we all kind of landed in the same general area. And this is where, in my opinion, the 4 coming up, well, I guess at 9-2 isn't a huge price, but none of us talked about the 4. And so these claiming races, lower level claiming races, I always get a little interested in finding the one that nobody else is landing on. So I had a little love for the 4. Dr. Tang, did you look at the 4 at all, or kind of tossed it almost immediately?
No, I looked at it as well. But I didn't want to, stretch out too far of my ticket. I could have gone, a couple more different ways, especially in the last race. I know I singled it, but no, the 4 I was looking at, the 4 has some potential there. I mean, he's got Nap, Pereira. He's coming out of Los Al. We know those are all dangerous. Nap just cleaned up on the last, and the second time with Nap, and also second time off a layoff. So he could fire here. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah. Nick, did you look anywhere other than the 6 and the 8? You were the 6 and the 8, right? Was there anywhere else that you were?
My A's were 6-8. My B was the 2. The public and the bettors really like this 1. Dr. Tang likes the 1, so it's probably means that's the winner, because I just completely I didn't like it. And when you if you go 3 deep and there's good action on a horse that you did not get to, that's probably a good reason to go back and think, I must have missed this. It's not like it's just the favorite that's getting bet for no reason. So I'm going to be scared of the 1. So hopefully I can. It's too late to change now. I did add in a pick 4 though. So sometimes that's the advantage of, when you get to a leg, like think about if this would have been leg 4, right? You don't see where everyone's at. And so you get the advantage, or, you get to that leg and then you see in the pick 3 or the pick 4 that this horse is hammered compared to everyone else. So
absolutely. And then JT Brew hit the first leg, so we'll post his ticket up again because until he misses, then we'll mute him or something. But probably not. JT, just keep posting up because I keep talking and I keep missing, so it's okay. He's on the exacta box of the 167, and then adding the 4 in for his try and super box. So I like that idea of fairly decent odds there, and you're probably going to get paid pretty decently on something like that.
Yeah, and shout out to Brad Anderson in the chat. I did meet him last Saturday and had a wonderful time talking with him about everything to do with horses and betting, and it was just a wonderful time on track. So great guy.
Nice.
Taught me a lot that I'll be able to put in my back pocket and then hopefully use here.
Nice.
Very nice.
So we got 6-ish minutes, and 1's still the favorite, but 8's 5-2 at this point, at least on TVG that I'm looking at. And I guess Equibase is either slow or they stopped updating, one or the other. Either way, probably. So I think that this race, I'm just a little afraid of the pace getting too hot, and I think that's what the 1 can kind of close into. So like I said before, I'm gonna do the 268 kind of on top with a little bit heavier on the 2, and then 1 in second for an exact, and then the 268 back into the 3rd for trifecta type of bet. Nothing too crazy. I don't think there's I'm too much on the favorites and low prices that I don't think there's enough real value there to do something. But since I'm talking about it and I'm not gambling, I'm like, I got to go get bet in. So I'll probably throw something down in there. No good. I mean, the Del Mar card tomorrow is fine. There's nothing there that's, there's 1 or 2 stakes races, right? I know that Magic Mike covered it on Thursday, so go listen to them. Did you look at that one yet, Nick?
No, tomorrow's Colonial for me. That's lots of turf racing, which I like, and some stakes. And we've got some, it's hard to believe. I did see the morning lines on that, but there's a Chad Pratt horse that's 10-1 in a grade 1. So you don't see that very often.
It's the Horse Racing Nation computer and Ed DeRosa are doing the morning lines there. So I've heard they've been pretty good in terms of being accurate. I don't know if they're, nothing's perfect, obviously, but it's been a pretty good implementation of that. It's almost as good as David Aragona, is my understanding, which, is a compliment to a computer and a human to be almost as good as Aragona. So we'll give him a little props for that.
Colonial, I'm excited for that. It's the Arlington Million, which I don't know why they kept the name. I think they should probably just change that. But
well, there's an Arlington, Virginia. It's close by. You can call it Arlington Million in Virginia.
Horse racing in a nutshell, basically.
Basically. Yeah, that's been we can get into this at some point. That's not in the middle right before race starts, but their idea of moving to Friday, Saturday, Sunday to try and go up against Del Mar and Saratoga just seems to be a terrible idea. Like at best a terrible idea, and really it's just like people actually liked Colonial when it was Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. They were getting pretty good wagers in there. Yeah.
I loved it because it was so much better racing than Indiana. So it was like get some, and like there's trainers that you got Stidham and Graham Motion's running there, and you get some jockeys that'll come down. Raylu Garretieres was running there a lot, and just yeah, unfortunate that I haven't hardly looked at Colonial at all because of when they're running now.
What I've heard though about it is that they do have a pretty decent on track now, though,
Mm.
which, it's owned by Churchill, so it's like, do they really care? Like, I mean, I guess obviously they care to some degree, but like maybe do Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Like, why couldn't you do that? Keep one, weekend day and get people on Sundays, but then get your handles on Mondays and Tuesday, because I know they were getting great handle last year or the last couple years. So, again, horse racing. That's what they do apparently.
Yep.
Yep, money will talk, and they'll adjust if it wasn't good. So
Right.
Yeah. And I know they had a new manager. I listened to way too much Jason Beam, as it turns out, so I get to hear all of the fun drama that is Colonial. So I would imagine they probably make at least a small change for next year. And Rob is saying that they get free admission to Colonial. So, what's the point of the gate unless you're Del Mar or Saratoga and you're charging $20 for a beer? I don't think you can pull that off. And I'm going to say this in Arlington, Virginia, knowing full well that it's not, but I'm gonna make that a thing, is that it's in Arlington, Virginia, and that's why they're keeping the name, and that's why they chose that to be their Arlington site. That makes sense, right? I can go with this. I'm good with geography. Where is it? It's in New Kent, Virginia. I'm going to ask you guys who both live in California where New Kent, Virginia is. So I'll just stop before I even start with that one and just say, sounds like it's close. I think it's pretty close.
Yeah. It probably is really close to where you think it is. Who knows? Or maybe it's in the middle of nowhere.
I think it's closer to the middle of nowhere than anywhere. I know that the Jason Beams talked about it takes them 3 hours to get to Baltimore from there. So
looks like it's outside of it's just east of Richmond.
Okay.
So
the Richmond Million. Next year, that's what they'll change it to, the Richmond Million.
Yeah. So just east of Richmond.
Right.
And they're getting up to the gate, and the one is still 9 to 5. Wow.
It's a bad price.
Yeah, it is
a bad price.
We'll see if it moves much now. It's just moved to post time, so see if a bunch of money comes pouring in.
Got an interesting, like in the double, he is third choice, but he is hammered in the win bet here, and it doesn't look like it's going to change back.
Well, it just switched to 2 to 1 the last click that I saw.
Oh,
so 9 to 5, 2 to 1 is kind of the same thing, really.
Okay, I guess it is going to change late.
Yeah.
The computer's making sure everything's even.
Well, they charge them extra to be on at the end there, so they're paying a premium to move the number. Yeah, that's what they tell us, anyways. Within 3 minutes, they got to pay extra.
That's what they say.
And they're also out of the late pick 5 and the pick 6 at Naira, so I believe that is also very much. I believe all of that. Because we haven't had a pick 6 carryover yet at Saratoga.
And they're off.
Yeah. And of course the 8 goes kind of sort of.
8 is trying to go. Crossing over here.
I'm gonna end up 8's gonna end up 3 wide. 1's gonna be on the lead and on the rail.
Not like the ride on the 6. If I was he didn't break good, and now he's going wide at every turn, and this does not look good for the 6.
Well, we'll take all of our comments we made about Freysu back here in just a minute if it continues.
The 3's on the lead right here.
I'd like the 8's sitting good. 6 is, the 6 I think used a little. I can see the 6 making a move and then flattening out from early.
Here comes the 4 a little bit, kind of.
And then the 1 is just sitting on the rail.
Yeah. I don't really love that position on the 1 right now.
And a 47-second half, so they slowed down from a 22 on the first quarter.
Okay, this 3's about to drop anchor here.
The 7 is looking good.
And going 4 or 5 wide.
I need JT Brew. I need to hang with him. He's coming up with horses.
That 1 looks like he's got the trip.
The 8 looks strong, though. He's holding on now. Now the 1's coming.
So that's where the money is, I guess.
Okay, there is the 1. Wow. Okay.
How much do I get?
See, look at that. The horse that you do not like, and everyone else does, wins pretty easily.
Take that. Needed that for the contest, even though it was 2 to 1. Okay, well.
Like to bet at 5-1 on that morning line.
Well,
It is what
I
it is.
used in the pick 4, but all of the other stuff I'm out on. So unfortunate.
That is. So you're on the 1-2-6-8 in that one. So you were pretty free there at the end. You were pretty confident. And Dr. Tang, I have yours over there. You were on the 1-6-8 too. So you guys are both through in your pick 4s, and that was the one I had more underneath. So I as you probably saw, I didn't stop talking. Thus, I didn't make my bet. So I'm not going to be too upset about missing my bet of playing the winner underneath. It's, I keep seeing, I've said 100 times this meet, like I'm seeing Del Mar well. I just haven't put together 3 or 4 good bets at a time
Yeah,
to make
always
it
tough.
hit.
Always
But
tough. Yeah.
I did hit a trifecta opening Saturday. I hit it for $5 and it paid 100 for 50 cents. So I ended up paying $1,000. So I was pretty happy about that. And then I went and lost it all at Sacramento at the State Fair, because they have a great deal at the State Fair. Nick, I don't know if you went this year, but they have a cup of the wine. So you buy a glass, and you buy a plastic cup or you buy a glass. If you buy the glass, you got to pay the bottle price, but they fill it to the top. Okay. And then when you go back, you pay the same price as what the cup is or the glass is, but they fill it to the top. And let's just say I left the State Fair feeling awfully good with myself and saying I'm never going to play horse racing ever again, and swearing to my family I'm never playing horses ever again. And then today when I walk in here to do a podcast, like, I thought you weren't talking about horses ever again. I'm like, well, I'm not betting them. I'm just talking about them. I'm just talking with my friends about horses. It's fine.
I'm just impressed that you're drinking wine when it was probably 105 out.
Yeah, the beauty of wine.
It rosé. It was a perfect rosé.
There we go.
Oh yeah.
Right.
And $11 for a glass of rosé at the fair versus $15 for a beer. It was pretty easy.
It's like European prices. A wine is cheaper than water.
The most outrageous prices I've seen, I think I might even talked about it last time, was on, but I was in Las Vegas, and I was at the pool, and I got a Bloody Mary that was, I don't know, 12 ounces or something, and it was $35.
35. What a bloody wow.
Oh, really? So Logan, I forget that not everybody's watching this with us, so we should probably say what happens. It was 1-8-4 in the race 2. One pays $6.60 to win. I didn't see the exact price yet, but 2 favorites there, 1-2. So I don't think it's going to be some great payout.
Right.
So, how was your trip to Saratoga? And we won't mention the test, Nick, but how was everything but the test?
Yeah, that was just really unfortunate. I'm sure that it sad, and that's part of, I don't know, just animals in general. I just love animals, so it's just tough to see. And my trip to Saratoga overall was wonderful. We went to Manhattan, my wife and I, on Thursday, and did some touristy things all day, and ate at a really nice French restaurant, and just absolutely loved it. We did like a City Lights tour cruise to see the skyline of Manhattan and everything at night, so that was really cool. And wound up in a speakeasy, so had some late night New York pizza, so a great Thursday, and then took the train up to my aunt and uncle's house in upstate New York. That's like 30 minutes from Saratoga, so it's a great spot to just hang out for the weekend, and we had a wonderful time catching up with them. And then Saturday at the track, got there early, got our chairs set up in the backyard, and had a little base camp there. And then I was able to meet Aaron and Jared. That was really cool. Nice. First time I got to see them, and got to meet Vinny, Dynasty Picks. I got to meet him.
Nice.
And got to meet the whole crew of the HHH Racing podcast. Got to meet Matt Miller and Brad Anderson, and
wow,
and Drew Coatney as well, who won the BCBC last year. So
2 BCBC winners there.
Yeah. So I got to meet, hanging out with a bunch of BCBC winners was really special for me. So it was awesome.
That's awesome. That is awesome. Have you been to Saratoga before? Or was this your first time?
No, I've been there. I guess a lot for some people. I mean, I was there. I went there when I was in like 09. I went there, and then from 2017 through 2000, or 2016 through 2019, I was there every year. And then when COVID hit, I hadn't been back until just this year. So
okay. So enough to know what you're doing, and it's not your first time, and you're going to go look at everything. Because that's always my when you go to a new place like that, I'm always like, well, I got to go for 2 days because I went to the Derby this year, and so we went for Derby, and it was just that was fun just to walk around and see everything. And then on Oaks Day, it's like, okay, we looked at everything, so we'll just be a little bit closer to the seats. And then come Derby Day, it's like, all right, I'm just going to sit here and not move because there's a million people and there's nowhere to go. But at Saratoga, I'm sure you get to that same thing where it's like, all right, a couple of days you get to see everything and kind of walk around and get to feel like you know what you're doing at that point, and that's always a good feeling.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that was fascinating was we were early, we were early, but not like early. So I think it was, gates open at 11. First race was like 12:30. I saw the pictures, like people are in line. If people don't know, like on the big days, people are in line early and they wait in line because when they open the gates, you can run and get spots in the backyard where you can bring in camp chairs and you can bring in coolers to Saratoga, which is, I don't know other tracks that do that, but I'm sure there might be one or two, but that place is nice because it helps keep it relatively cheap, right? You can bring your own beer or drinks and you have a spot where you can hang out in the shade and then you can go make your bets or go watch the track and come back. So but we got there at 11, found a nice spot. But the best part was it's like you roll up and it's a small town. So traffic is horrible when all the cars are coming in and parking can sometimes be kind of crazy. But like the main entrance, when you come in, like kitty corner to the main entrance, so 30 yards across the street, there's a parking lot and they're charging $30 to park. And, for me, I'm there once a year I'm going to be there once a year. So I don't want to lug my stuff very far. And so they didn't have any cones or anything up. So I pull in, I'm like, you guys got a spot left? They're like, yeah, we have like 2 spots left. And I was like, how is this possible?
Well, I was going to say, I go to Giants.
Maybe people are like, oh, I don't want to pay $30 to park, I guess. I'm not sure. So, but we got a spot literally 30 yards from the entrance. So that was wonderful.
Wow. I was going to say, we live in Sacramento, and going to a Giants game in San Francisco, it's like it's a Tuesday in a Giants game, and good luck finding a place to park under $50. And that's a Tuesday for a Giants game when there's nobody there. So $30 at Saratoga is worth every penny of it, especially if you have an ice chest and things. Like, I'd pay triple that, but don't tell them that when I actually do show up. They'll probably charge me triple. How was your betting? How was your betting for the weekend?
Oh, well, I don't need to get into that, but
okay, fair.
No, I will. I played my first contest, live money.
Oh yes.
So that was very interesting. I had put myself in position, and you guys might not remember, but I think it was like race 4, or actually it was race 5. Tyler Gaffalione was on a 7-1 horse who got bet down to the favorite. And I had played a big double into him. And so I would have hit for $1,000 if he wins the race. And of course he strikes the front, he's winning the whole length of the stretch and gets nosed by the 10 horse right at the wire. And so I was like, that's unfortunate. Then you had to play 5 minminimums at Monmouth. And what's funny is all my best bets were at Saratoga. So I'm going through my strategy, but I hit all of my minimum bets at Monmouth. So I wish I would have just been betting at Monmouth. I didn't hit them all, but I had 2 of my first 3. And so it was keeping me alive. And then, in those contests, we've gone over this, right? You come up with a number you think you need to be at, you work backwards, and you kind of go, at one point you got to go all in. You don't really want to whittle yourself. And, talking to Matt Miller and talking to Brad Anderson and Drew, I was just like, wow, this is very good advice. And so eventually I got to the point where I went all in on a Pratt horse, like 3 races later. And he unfortunately didn't run that well. And then at that point I was out of the contest. But to me, the important part was that if Tyler wins that race, at that point, I've got $1,000 in that contest, and it dramatically changes after that. So,
Yep.
Yeah.
And I was that close. So it was a lot of fun, a lot of good experience. And then I had played some cash bets on the side. The problem is that during the tournament, I wasn't really playing cash. So that was fun. And that brought me like 3/4 of the way through the card. And then we got to Maple Leaf Mel, and I put a pretty big win bet on Maple Leaf, and that was had the exact. So that was just a really tough time.
Yeah. On top of it all, like beyond like the obvious bad part of it, it's like, and I lose. Like that part is, and I don't mean it in any disrespectful way, because it was terrible. And I was on here with Magic, and we were watching it, and we both were like, all right, we done? Let's just stop now, because nobody wants to watch any of this anymore. But having that one basically be called the winner, and obviously be the winner, and then be like, yeah, you're not getting some great price, but you're like, yeah, but I'm going to win a bet. And I'd had a tough day as it was. And now that on top of this, and yeah, let's just pretend like nothing happened and move on. Like pretty bad. So, and I have Headlow is talking to us, and he's on a 6-hour drive. So we're going to take him through about, let's say, half of your drive, Pedlo. So, after that, you have to go listen to Magic Mike. They'll take you through the late pick 5 tomorrow.
Yep.
But what was it like there? Was it basically I'm not going to, let me come up with a better word. Did it get very quiet there after the Maple Leaf Mel?
Oh, it was the most, I don't know, eerie or surreal. I've never experienced something like that in my life, where everyone was, of course, the background is that's Parcells' horse, and Melanie Giddings, the trainer. Like this was like one of those where everybody wanted that horse to win. Everybody knew about it, and it ran a great race, and it deserved every bit of a win there. And of course that happens, but I've never been in a situation where it went from everyone screaming at the top of their lungs to completely dead silent, like pin drop dead silent. And you got to think there was 44,000 people there. To everyone have the exact same thing at the same time, it was very, very eerie. And then, then it's just, of course, like the next thing is like for example, my wife and my aunt and uncle, they had meandered their way they were at the finish line on the rail for that. And so that was not great, but
yeah,
it's one of those things where it was just, it's very, very sad, and it's just part of life, I guess, as sad as it is. So
yeah, well, I mean, that was one of the things. I was, like I said, I was at Churchill for Derby week, and I saw every race, and I didn't one time see a horse get put down. I didn't see one horse vanned off. We didn't see any of it, because they all happened, on the backstretch or on the turn, and they were able to kind of pull them up and kind of take them away. So you don't want to be like, oh, I didn't see it, so it didn't happen. But it wasn't at the finish line where you just see an animal fall like that, which is like impossible to not see. And that's a much different feeling than seeing it, kind of on the background. And at least then it's a little bit easier to be like, okay, we know what happens, but it's not like right in front of you. And so I guess that's a bad way of looking at it, because if you don't see it, then you can put your head in the sand and pretend like it doesn't happen, and we should probably not do that either. So let's move off of horses falling down and not doing well after that. Let's move on to race 3 at Del Mar. We got, I don't know, a little bit of time, so 13 minutes. So this is an interesting race. It's Calbreds going on 5 furlongs in the turf. Dr. Tang, I've been seeing that the turf, at least going short, has been speed favoring the last couple of days. Yeah. Are you on the same basic idea, or do you have seeing something different and smarter than what I've been seeing?
No, I agree with that. It also depends where the rail is at. In the beginning, the rail was at 0. You had a different pace profile than when the rail is out or in. I mean, I'm not that. I'm not that type of people that also looks at the tides and sees. I've seen that as like the tides of the one day affects the track, and I'm just like that's if that happens, that's over me. Somebody's hitting pick 5s at the tides at then I.
We need that. We need those stats in the PPs.
Yes, exactly. Besides, favors stall 6 or whatever. But yes, recently, yes, it's speed favoring thus far. So, and it's a change. Sometimes, I mean, it used to be the speed favoring on the routes instead of the sprints, but now with the rail, it seems it's a little bit more speed favoring in general on the turf, if that's correct.
Yeah. So you were on the 158 here for your, what was the pick 5 that I've turned into a pick 4 for you? So this wasn't your actual pick 4 ticket, but
Yes,
close
I am
enough.
on the 158. My 5 is my I mean, that's my long shot, but it's based on a trip note. I mean, a trip that I saw that was pretty bad, and hopefully it'll get a better trip type of thing.
Fair enough. And then Nick, I'm going to pull yours up because I have it right over there. You haven't been playing much at Delmore, so I won't try and make you tell me what the track's been doing. But you landed on the 1, 3, 8, and 10, so you went pretty wide as well here. What was your top kind of opinion?
Well, the 8 is my kind of top pick. I mean, I wrote when we originally talked, 8, 10 were my A's. I kind of talked about Juan Hernandez getting on this horse. John Sadler's second career race numbers are pretty good. Second time starter. This is one too where it's kind of like race 1, very similar. This horse is 4-1. And I really liked it. The betting public is hammering this horse. I added the 10 has some good experience, and we're kind of cutting back. So a lot of people don't like cutbacks on grass, but I don't. Sometimes I think, the horse is young enough where I don't know if it matters yet. So, or I guess it's not that young, just doesn't have that many races. So I kind of like the 10 as well. Maybe can come off the pace and get there late if the speed doesn't hold. I added the 1 because you told me that Somich and
likes it.
Aaron were on it, so yeah. Now we're getting decent odds. So, and then you liked the 3, so I added the 3. So that's how I got to these horses.
Okay, it's one of those that I think we're all kind of in that same boat of like they're. A maiden special going 5 furlongs on the turf is a little difficult to, unless you see something really great there. I feel like you got to either take a stand or you got to kind of take a couple and go from there. And in this case, I took the stand with the 3 Grand Tiger, a 4-year-old. I think I did this the first time. I'm not going to do it again. No, it's its 3rd race overall, and it ran on the turf first and then came back and ran on the dirt and didn't do terrible on the dirt, but coming back to the turf, I think as the favorite in those 2, I kind of feel like I'm getting the right price. And at 5-2 in the morning land, I was happy. And currently at 4-1, I haven't looked at the wheel pace yet, but I kind of feel like it's one of those like maybe I'll get halfway decent here. So I was in my non-played pick 5 that I am still technically alive in. I singled the 3, so I know that Davey was on the 10 Grays, who I also liked. Now looking, it's on it's 119 pounds. Aguilar is the bug jockey, right? So getting lightweight, and I guess Ghostly Act is also sitting at 113. So I kind of like the orders in this race going against the younger horses. So I don't have a whole lot that I like loved here more than 3 look like it may be the fastest, and if it is, then I may be okay. So kind of where I ended up with it. So we were all kind of in the same boat, because I was also on my backups would have been a 6, 10, 8, and 1, 6, 8, 10. So kind of the same ones that you guys all were around as well. So one of those like, all right, we're all in the same boat. So any deeper thoughts here or things that you guys thought?
No, I mean, yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say JT Brew likes the 9 here. He,
okay.
Like he says, he's been waiting for this horse to run on the turf. So I always got to take a double look then.
Lord Nelson is the sire.
Yeah.
I like the jockey.
Yeah.
And ran 2 weeks ago here, going a mile in a similar similar spot, but on dirt as opposed to turf. And so kind of, if JT likes to come back to the turf, I'm interested to see why he likes it coming back to the turf, other than if it's just Lord Miles or if he's, seeing the way it runs and it looks like it should run on turf. That's one of those things that I've been trying my best to look at, is like, what does it look like when they want to run on turf versus running on dirt? And I'm very bad at that. So, how are you with that, Dr. Tang?
Hit or miss. It really depends. I mean, it's hard to. Sometimes you just look at the pedigrees and you think you have something, and then it doesn't do it at all. So it's kind of hit or miss. I mean, it's kind of hard with the turf switches, or is it just, the trainer wants to try new because nothing has worked on the previous surface? So it's really hard to tell sometimes. But you can kind of see these percentages from turf to dirt and the ROI. Sometimes I look at that with the trainers and see if there's anything that pops.
Yeah, that is one of those that I'm like, as I've said on here enough times, it's like I always kind of defer to what the trainer is doing, because it just they want to win, right? They're not putting this course in here because it's like, oh, I'm gonna show you guys. You're gonna put money on it, it's gonna lose. It's like, no, it thinks it has the trainer thinks there's a chance that this one will like the turf better. So I can kind of see that. And when you get Barrios up, like Nick said, Nick, is Barrios your third favorite rider in Southern California, or is he higher than third?
I'd probably say he's probably second, honestly. Although I gotta kind of look and remember who's all out here. I get frustrated with, I can't stand Rispoli.
Yeah.
Just one of those guys I never figure out. And Juan Hernandez, we talked, I think, is just flat out the best one here. And I guess Hector came over from Southern Florida, or from South Florida. He's been doing really good out here.
And he's been really good on the turf. Has been the part that I've been. I don't necessarily dislike him on the dirt, but I really like him on the turf. And I don't think he's a better rider than Hernandez, but I think if you give him a similar horse, there'll be similar rides. And I think that's all you can really ask for out of jockeys. And that's one of the things that I always feel about with jockeys is like, I'm like, if the horse is good enough, the jockey's not going to, not make them win. And that's what I'm always afraid of. And you get a couple of jockeys that get on there and it's like, oh, maybe it won't win because this jockey's gotten on. But I find that harder to believe than most of the time. It's like, when Tom Brady goes out there, how about Aaron Rodgers goes out there and throws an interception? It's like he gets to come back out and throw in a pass again. And you kind of are okay with like, yeah, he's going to be okay. Whereas the jockeys, most of them are fine. Most of them aren't going to, completely ruin a ride. But, on occasion, they'll make a mistake. They'll throw the interception. And I tend not to have too much against that, more than I'm more concerned about the, who's picking them and, how they're, how they do with the trainer. And if it's, Juan Hernandez with Baffert on the dirt, it's like, okay, that's the one that Baffert thinks is the best. So that's my view of it anyways. And So I got enough guesses from Dr. Tang. I feel like I'm on to something. Nick, are you relatively the same, or I know I mocked you one time because you picked a jockey and you said that was the reason why, and so thus I will always say that you pick horses based on jockeys. Yes, got it.
I'm good with it. I think jockeys are important. I mean, I just, maybe it's my own. I don't have to me, there's, when jockeys win at 27, 26% and jockeys win at 8%, I think they matter. And so, I think you made a good point. I think to me, it's more about finding a jockey who is, you don't want someone that's just going to like be too conservative, I guess you'd say, but you want someone who just makes good decisions. And if the horse isn't good enough, then that's fine. But there's a lot of jockeys, I think, that just make bad decisions, and they get good horses in trouble. And unless that horse is an absolute beast, it gets beat. And, that's one thing I think Irad is so good at, is that he just does not put his horses in trouble very much. And then that turns out to be a really good idea.
Fair.
And the other day I was on Twitter and someone was arguing, well, he doesn't ever win on prices, whatever. And I was like, I looked, he's suspended now, but of his last 7 rides, he's had a 5-1, a 7-1. He got the 13-1 home in the Whitney. And, he there's a reason why he gets the rides he does, because back when he was younger, which is interesting because, I didn't get into horse racing when he was like, one of the younger ones. Like I got into it when he was kind of already IRAD. But I was looking, he was like getting 60 to 1 shots home in Breeders' Cup. I mean, and maybe not 60 to 1, but I think he got like 2 years in a row. It was Shamrock Rose was like 30 to 1. And there's another one that he, in a Philly sprint, that it really was like 40 to 1, I think. Whitmore was like 15 to 1.
Yep, Whitmore. That was the one. Yep.
He gets prices home. So
yeah, I mean, that's one of the things that happens, especially now at Saratoga, where it's just like David Argona has said, I have to drop the price because IRAD's on it, right? When you get an IRAD brown horse on the grass, it's like they're going to get bet because IRAD's on the grass with Chad Brown. So it is definitely one of those that it's hard to be against him, but it's hard to play him when you see the ROI on it. I think I forget what it was, but it was a very low ROI for winning as much as he does, which, not his fault. He wins the races he can win. And like you say, he doesn't put them in places that he, doesn't make mistakes often enough to make them lose. So many of us, including our friend Shadi in the chat, will be screaming at us to talk about somebody else, which I will do here in a second. But Dr. Tang, do you have a jockey outside of IRAD that you love or hate? And other than Joel Rosario, who's now back to being,
he had a great ride today, by the way, on Marsalis.
Yeah. He comes up once in time like a mushroom, but anyways. No, Rosario. Anyways. No, I think their teases are great. I mean, I think the jockey is sometimes underrated in Saratoga is Tyler Gaffleone. They let him go at 5, 6 to 1, and he really gives them a good ride. Usually on turf, it's kind of surprising. I mean, last week where it was playing the Spa and Surf, he had some 8 to 1s. He had a Clement horse that was 12 to 1, bet down to 6 to 1. So he's been getting them home. So Tyler Gaffleone is a little bit underrated there, especially you have the Ortizes, you've got the Pratts, you got Rosario.
They are going to the gate here, and the 8 is the 2 to 1 favorite. Was down to 9 to 5 not that long ago, and still on Equibase. But nobody else. I guess my 3 is at 5 to 2. And the 10's 3 to 1. Davies 10's at 3 to 1. So I'm just going to name drop who's picked all of them. So at some point we'll say, hey, that person got this.
There we go. Yes.
We're going to get some winners here. Yes. So
my 5 is 40 to 1, by the way. We'll see.
All right. Now we're talking.
Sounds like a classic Dr. Tang cap horse in a contest. So,
but second time
on done that turf before many times.
Yeah.
I mean, this was the second time on the turf for this one, and second star is a 3-year-old. I mean, there's a case you made, and it doesn't have to be a very big case, and then you get 40 to 1. It's like, all right, case has been made right there for you on the price. So wouldn't it be terribly shocking? One, of course, that I would never pick because I'm not Dr. Tang, and that's not how I pick. I'll pick your 5 to 2 that goes off at 5 to 2 apparently, and as they break and
the 3 is way out there. That's exactly what you thought it would be. See if it can hold. Let's see.
Yeah, well, that's always that pesky. I could pick the first one to the quarter pole if that were a race. Oh wait, it is. Los Alamitos will be running tomorrow night.
There we go.
Yep, I'll be able to miss those ones because it'll break poorly. My dice will be weighted incorrectly. So 3's got a pretty good lead out there. Lead.
22 and change.
Yeah, not going terribly fast. Yeah. I mean, fast, but not
crazy.
Yeah.
The one's going to try and catch it here. Let's see. Can it hold on?
Oh, yeah, that one is
look at this, Somich.
Yep, the Somich.
Oh, look at it. And the one got hammered down to the favorite.
Yep, that's how it happens.
Oh.
By a mile.
Wow. Glad I added that.
Yep. Aaron and Somich are on, and they're pretty confident you don't want to fade that one.
Yeah, I know. And that's when I decide, what I'm going to do is I'm going to single the horse they both dislike. It's always worked well for me. It's always worked well for me to go against either of them. But then when they both are on an alignment with one that was, 3 to 1 on the morning line, so it wasn't like it was a big shot. Right. But when those two get on a favorite, it's like, all right, well, I should probably just listen to it and single that one. But no, I'm going to be cute. And, I felt good coming around the corner, though. I was okay.
That's probably got the odds. Out of that. The odds change came at the after half the race was over.
Oh my God! So it went 1-3-10 to finish here, and the 1 ends up at 5-2. The 3 was 3-1, and the 10, Davies 10 was 7-2. So
it was probably Somich who he probably
there we go.
saw the horse was 5-1 and said, "What is going on here?" He just pounded it.
Pounded it.
Yeah, we should probably. I've been trying to add my. I have a spreadsheet because, of course, I have a spreadsheet of what the will pays would equal out to when you look at it when it goes to the win pool. Yeah. And I've been looking at Del Mar, and it's been pretty accurate. So it normally works out pretty well. And Pedlo, who's driving, Pedlo, put your phone away and just listen. Went from 7-1 to 5-1 to 5-2 in those last couple of clicks. So that was definitely the Somich throwing it on there. Yes. So
it was the favorite in the pick 3, so by pretty significantly. Yeah. So probably a good idea that's where the money is going to come in at some point. The double, it's Del Mar so far in the first 3 races. The money's been weird, right? Yeah, the doubles haven't always agreed with the win pool, and
well, it's because Somich didn't play the double; he only played the win pool. Yeah. The other good thing is Phil Mickelson doesn't bet horses, but we should get him into playing the horses.
That's true. So I was looking at something about that, and what was funny is that he claims to have bet $1 billion overall, which makes sense if you hit a couple of big bets. You just churn that money, right? So I don't know how to churn money. I'm very bad at it. I just go to my bank account and add more money. So I never put $1 billion in. But if I put $1 million in and I churn it to $1 billion, how long has Phil Mickelson been gambling? He's what, in his 50s?
Yeah,
he's definitely been gambling
years,
for 30. Yeah. He's 40 years for sure. And you got to figure he won the Masters. He's got so much money, and he has all that KPMG money that used to be on his shirt. He's fine. I'm surprised he hasn't bet $2 billion. I bet Michael Jordan has bet over $2 billion.
Yes.
My favorite story I've ever told is I was at they do the celebrity golf tournament up in Tahoe, and it used to be Michael Jordan's favorite thing. And so when I was 22 or so 20 years ago or thereabouts, 18 to be precise, I'm not that old, him and Charles Barkley were in the Caesars Palace at Tahoe, and the minimum bet was $10,000 on blackjack, and it was hours of him playing blackjack. Hours. And it's he just sold his basketball team for $3 billion or something. He's bloated.
Yeah, 10,000 a hand is nothing to him.
Yeah, that's me playing. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but the crazy thing, that one stat, $1 billion for training, but Phil Mickelson, he made 43 baseball bets in one day. Now that's an impressive. How do you even have time to pop those?
That's like a slow Tuesday for a horse player.
43 baseball bets that came up to be $145,000.
So at most there's 15 games. I guess you throw in a couple double headers. Call there 18 games.
Yeah,
so he's betting. Yeah, he's definitely playing the Somich first 5 bets.
First 5.
Yeah,
because there was no in-game back then. So first 5 over unders, money lines, run lines.
Oh boy, that's I won't ever say that I'm going to ever bet $1 billion. I won't even bet $1 million because I won't make $1 million in my life. But I've made enough bets in my life to be I've only made this much money. I've bet this much money. I hit a pick 4 one time, and look, I got to churn that money for 3 extra days.
Yeah,
I had a trifecta at Emerald Downs 2 weeks ago, and that money lasted me almost 48 whole hours. And then I went to the state fair and had some wine.
Yep.
All right. So let's move on to our 4th race. And this race, I had one strong opinion. It's an allowance optional claimer for Cowbreds. I believe they're on the dirt, right? I'm still on race 3. Yeah, a dirt going.
Yes, dirt.
Yeah,
6 furlongs.
What I normally read. Yeah, I normally read it here, and because there's so many conditions, I don't get to see it. 6 furlongs on the dirt. Wind Ribbon won on July 22nd, which I believe was the second day of the meet at 13-1. And I had that horse. I shouldn't say I had it. Somich had it. I just followed Somich. And so I really liked that one that day at 13-1. But now you got a 7-year-old coming back, fairly quick turnaround. And I don't believe he's turned around that quickly. This pace may set up for him, but I'm going to be pretty much against the one. I don't remember who you were on, Nick, but who did you land on here, Nick, as I try to find your comment?
The horse that's pounded down to even money.
Oh, wow.
Third straight race.
Mystic
three
Flyer.
of 4. Race 1, 4-1 morning line gets bet down to favorite wins. Race 2, chuck out. We didn't hit that. The horse that got pounded down to the favorite wins. I didn't have it.
Nope.
Race 3, we just watched. The 8 gets pounded down to co-favorite and loses. The one that I also didn't have wins. Now here we go. We got the 8 who's pounded to even money. This one I do think is going to win, though. I like this one a lot. This was my single, so
Nice.
love the I love horses like this that are potentially, they got better slowly, and now here we are at 3, and I think it should run a good race, hopefully.
Yeah. And we have a couple of those that are coming back off of a layoff. Dr. Tang, you're on, at least your pick 5 was on the 1, 2, 6, 8, 10. So you went pretty wide and landed on pretty much the same general idea that Nick did. Where was your top choice, or who did you like the most in this race?
I used the 10 in the contest. I used 10, and my second pick was a 6. So 10, second off the layoff, claimed with Krista Mulhall, one of my kind of tricky little trainers that I like to use at Santa Anita usually, or in the Southern California circuit. She's pretty tricky. She does a good job with claiming horses and things from that standpoint. This horse previously was with Jonathan Wong, so must have had some type of talent. He's last raced at Los Al, like kind of the Los Al kind of transition to Del Mar, Santa Anita. Yes, he's a 7-year-old, but he's had some good races earlier in the year. He won twice in a row in February and in March. And this last one was at the 6 furlong distance. So, I mean, at 10-1, I thought that was a decent price. So that's why I have him on top.
Yeah. That one was claimed after that March race from Jonathan Wong and went to Lorenzo Campizano, who then Jonathan Wong claimed it for 16 after losing it for 12.5. Jonathan Wong is a diabetic, and thus his horses can't race. So we'll go with that. Though I love Jonathan Wong, so I'm gonna believe that he was a diabetic and his horses took his medicine, because that's how horses respond with medicine, I'm sure. But now to Mulhall, who seems to have taken a bunch of the Wong horses, and she seems to have done pretty well. But time form has her at 8%, 5%, but only 37 runners. So I'm going to say, but she outran her odds. She's been doing good. So I'm going to go with you on that one. I actually landed on the 6-2, 2, 5, 6, and 8 2, 5, 6, 8 all coming back off of long layoffs and haven't been racing in a while. So those were the 4 that I kind of thought had a chance and was hoping to get a price with one of them, and all of them are except for the 8. So, that'd be the one I'd kind of try to fade. Sorry, Nick, but maybe that's good, is I'll get off your horse and, you'll get your single home. So this is an interesting Calbreds non-winners of 1 going short. It's a race that got written pretty well given how many horses they ended up showing up, because these dirt races haven't been filling at Santa Anita, nor do they fill at Los Al, but then, they go to Del Mar and they fill. So kind of a nice, it's a nice race, and I think you can at least try to get some sort of price in there, and I know Nick tried to get a price with the 8. So from 5-1 to 6-5 is a tough hammer. What did you see where it's at in the will pace, Nick?
We'll take a look. It is the favorite, significant favorite in the double.
Okay.
And in the pick 3, it is the 1 is actually almost the same price in the pick 3. So I'd watch out for that 1.
Oh, interesting. Coming back as just one, like I said, 3 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, and now coming back after winning, and a step up though, coming from a 20K claimers to a Calbred allowance, but it was an open claiming race, so maybe they're similar, but getting hammered is an interesting, down to 9-2 on the win side, so not that huge here. What did you guys think of the 11 big hand? Rodney was looking at the 11. Any 6-1 morning line out to 13-1. I know that I shouldn't give away all of the picks, but Jared and Somich both landed on the 2 and the 11 in that order. So one of those, like, well, they've done it once, so maybe they'll do it again. And maybe that's
definitely looks like a horse that I singled here. But I mean, if you were spreading, it's got odds to include. It's coming back off the turf, back to dirt.
Yeah.
Broke its maiden. Looked pretty good when it broke its maiden, and then it ran in at this level. It looks like, is that what this is? Twice, and ran. I don't even know if you want to call that decent. 5th by 6 lengths and 8 by 11 lengths. Didn't really do much, so they moved it to the turf.
Right.
Now we're coming back, but big freshening, right? Big layoff. So,
long 9-month layoff. It looks like at least.
A couple 5 furlong 59 work and coming off this bullet. So, I would definitely include. I mean, if you're spreading, those are the horses that you want to include.
I agree.
People aren't getting to or seeing, and that's the type of horse that it wins, and then everyone goes, I don't understand, and you look back and you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah, there it is. Yep.
You just explained it, and I just looked, and I'm still like, yeah, I'm not getting there. What you're saying makes complete sense, and you look at those dirt numbers, and it kind of fits, but yeah, not for me. Yeah. So that's
the beauty of horse racing. That's the beauty of it.
That's the Nick talking into the winner's circle for everybody. So, Shadi, this is the last one I give. I promise. Don't tell Magic, who I know was in the chat just a minute ago. So it was a freebie, so that you can see, so you can buy the products tomorrow.
There we go. It's a preview. There we go.
Yeah. 2 races, first, second and third. Nobody cares about the second and third, but we are in the third and fourth. So details and just the middle of that pick 5, no big deal. Sue Super Chief is kind of in that same boat. Does that one fit in the same way for you, Dr. Tang, or because it's so lightly raced, don't kind of talk it up quite as much as you did the 11?
I used it. I didn't use the 11. I used this one over the 11. I think Barocchio is a pretty tricky trainer. He's been pretty successful here in Santa Anita and a little bit successful in Del Mar. It's a 5-year-old. It's what is it? Yeah, so it's only raced twice though. That's my little caveat there. But it won once out of 2. So I mean, I think with Barocchio, I like his horses, but yeah, my little concern is that in terms of the piece profile of this race, I think there's going to be quite a bit of speed. Like I think the 9 wants to go, the 4 wants to go. I think the 2 kind of wants to go or can sit off a little bit. So if they're all gunning for the lead, this may be a little bit of a fall apart race. So that's why I ended up on the 10 and the 6, and I can see why people are betting the 8 also.
Yeah. The one that I thought that I've been using optics recently, and I actually just paid for the years of optics because of how well it's been doing at Del Mar. They have the 9 in the lead, which I don't see in any way, shape, or form. Like I don't see it when I look at the PPs. I can't get the 9 in front, but it's been good, and it looks like a very clear choice to at least use underneath.
Yes.
So
I think the 9 will. I actually agree with the 9 on the this horse. That's why I recognize it. This horse won me the contest at 42-1 in June 11th. That's why it's so it won me that contest. Yeah, it won me like 2 seats. So because I think it's a speed because this was the horse that came from Los Al, and although we couldn't see it in the PPs, it came from Los Al, those 1,000 yard, 1,000 yard races, and it switched to turf, and it kept Reed Saldana. I was like, this horse is gonna go, and it. At 42-1, it didn't stop going. So I think that's why probably optics has it that it's one of those horses that is going to go. In this last race, it broke second too. So I could see. I mean, I think the 2, 4, 9 are the ones that are going to go. We'll see. If the inside post will matter if it can beat to the 9. But I was like, why does this horse sound so familiar to me? And I see why. The 40.
I see now that I'm wrong of why I can't see it, because it has ones all over the place, and it went gate to wire. It blows out at least one time. So it getting the lead is definitely not something that's hard to envision. And 20-1 feels like you're getting every bit of the price you want. One of my favorite angles, though this doesn't quite fit the way that I'd like it.
Right.
Blows out to Del Mar on the turf, which it ran last time, I guess 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago with Cedillo. Losing Cedillo, I love Abel Cedillo, so he's not even getting him out, so maybe he just got thrown off this one. But I have a hard time getting to this one, but I do like that it has a speed, so I kind of included it in my underneath D type. So, Nick, with your 8, I saw it was acting up in the paddock a little bit, and it was thrown around a little. Doesn't look like anything too big, just saw it when I looked down. So if you didn't have the 8, you were pretty spready here, right? You were kind of with everybody else and not having a huge opinion outside the 8. And, unfortunately your 8's now down to 7-5, but was there someone else that you'd play exact trifecta here in the key spot, or are you spreading underneath?
I would probably, the one would probably be, I think the two was also a horse that I kind of liked. I think it has like a really good, let's see, is this the same race I'm thinking of? Yeah, so like broke its maiden, big, according to Brisna at least, a big figure, then comes back in an optional claimer and runs second to a horse that went on to win, and I think has actually gone on to stakes races. And now it's been 4 or 5 months, or May, June, July, August, so 4 months. So the 2 would probably actually be my second pick here. But I like the 8. It's a single. It's an opportunity. There's reasons why I think it. I think if the 8 is improved and the trainer has him actually ready to run, he looks to me like he's got a speed figure that no one else can touch. So, I guess we'll see though.
Yeah, the wrong one. Sorry, Shoddy. Nope. Sorry, Shoddy again. I see how they do this all the time. It keeps moving. Lemon sushi sounds horrible unless paired with salmon, which I'm with you, Shoddy. I also thought that one coming back with Bravo, it's ran some numbers that kind of fit, and it's one of those, if it can be close to the lead, it may be the first run, and 10-1, I kind of love that price. And so I'm looking at some sort of 2, 5, 6, 9, 11 trifecta super box type of thing, because it looks like those are enough prices. If I get Nick's 8 out of there, I can get him singled home so he can hit his pick 4, and I can lose $20 and we'll all be happy, and I'll make him buy me a beer later. So yeah, I mean, this, like I said, this one is wide open. Oh, and one more thing is I don't know what the Corn Ferry event is, Pedlo, but he's headed to the Corn Ferry event, and so he wants the 7 golf drama.
Yeah.
I'm not even going to ask you to make a case for that one, Dr. Tang, because I can't. But name play, always a good one for the 4th race at Del Mar on a Friday afternoon. If he weren't driving, I'd say he's having a margarita. So he's driving, so he's not. But he is looking at his phone. So knock it off again, Pedlo. You're going to hurt somebody. Like the band Corn. Sorry, now I'm just reading the comments. This has turned into bad. Magic was here. I think he's gone. So now we can just chat and have a good time. So, but I know that neither of you guys. Oh, Nick, here we go. Nick, you like doubles. I'm going to make you make a double here. So you like the 8 here, and as your single. So we'll let you single your 8. We never really talked about the 5th race, so we'll kind of slide into that 5th race, which is a maiden Callbred 5 furlongs on the turf. We got a little bit into it, but we didn't race started. So where did you end up in the 5th race, Nick?
1-8 were my A's, but it looks to me like I have a feeling this 1 might be absolutely hammered the next race. So I don't know if there's words out or something. A lot of people like it. People in the chat were talking about it as like a single. I think Dr. Tang signaled it. So
that was what moved it. Dr. Tang signaled it, and the market was like, "Oh, Dr. Tang's signaling something." Definitely moving that market.
I mean, I just don't know. The $2 doubles paying 6-1, so you got to think about that's like 3-1. I mean, for me, I'll probably just skip that 1. I like the 8, so I'm going to play the 8. I'll skip the 1. I'll try to beat him, and I'd probably go to the the 8 and the 9. The 9 was my B. So I'd probably just go 8-8 and 8-9 as a double.
Okay. Dr. Tang, you singled the 1 in the next one, but as Nick just said, the doubles are getting a little light. Do you have a double idea here that you would, a double idea? What do you think for a double from this race to the next?
I'd probably go the 6-10 to the 1. I don't know how much that pays, since those are
Okay.
my shots. They're both at 11 to 1, and then even if the 1 gets hammered down to, who knows, 9 to 5, maybe we'll get something from that standpoint.
Yeah. So if you were not looking at prices, which I know is not how you play horses, but if you're just giving out picks of your top choice in this 4th race, would you land on the 6-10, or do you think there's a more likely winner in this 4th race?
I think the most likely winner is probably the 8.
Okay.
Yeah. But the 8 one's not gonna. I mean, I don't know how much. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the 8 one may be the quote unquote highest percentage win there, but I don't know how much it's gonna pay.
Yeah.
But if you really like the 8 and you really like the 1, the double may pay more than the win pool itself.
And it should. I mean, I don't know. Is the 1 hammered with all of them, Nick, or just with the 8? Are you still looking at? Sorry.
Yeah, it's
the favorite.
Yeah, it's the favorite in every single bet. It looks like to me.
Yep. So
and that's like it's significant. Like the 3 1 is paying $158 for $2. And like the next lowest is like $1,000.
Wow. Okay.
I mean, it's so I think everybody's playing probably, this is why I singled here.
Yep.
I guess you can argue same way. Like this looks like a spread race to me, even though this 8's getting hit in the win pool. But I think in multis, I think a lot of people probably tried to spread here and maybe relying on that 1 next leg. So if I get the 8 home here, and then, I guess that's, what did I end up doing in my last? I don't even remember what I have in the last leg.
Well, while you look for that, I'm going to say that Shadi is right, that we have Asada fries running in race 5. I would also point Shadi the 9 is petite filet. So I think that's your appetizer and your full course. But I think
we got the lemon sushi prior to that. So
I think a lemon sushi to Asada fries and petite filet. I mean, I think we have our late double
the 3-course meal there.
If you're not playing that, I mean, and it's Super Chief. I thought it was Super Chef, and I was like, well, there you go. We have it all. But we'll do a lemon sushi into Asada fries and petite filet as our double, because, like, I mean, honestly, if we're not doing that, what are we doing here? Like, you're playing a maiden special weight for 2-year-old Calbreds. Like, if you're not playing names, like, you're doing this wrong. Like, you're just doing it at least a little bit wrong.
Yep. Then after you eat that, you can do the run a mile in my shoes. That's the
one. That wasn't the pick 3. Now we got to look at the pick 3 and see if we got a pick 3. Oh, there you go. Now you can smoke them easy. That could be the way you end your night is smoking them easy. So, all right, that was enough of fun. I will say that Somich did toss the 1 in the last race. That's all I'm giving away. I'm not going to say who he picked. I'm just going to say he tossed the 1 in the last race. So
that's a very Somich thing to do, though. So
isn't it?
He probably, if he got his single home, if he liked that, he probably Did he single that 1 last race? Well, you don't have to tell me, but I'm sure that sounds like
he had no singles in the pick 5.
Okay.
So, and I'm going to make sure that I'm not getting in trouble for doing this. I can't imagine they care that much that we have, we're talking about his top pick as the race is going off. Like at that point, like they talk about him all the time, but I'll buy him tomorrow just to make sure that I don't get, in trouble. Double it up. Pay him back.
Pay him his royalties.
There you go. So he is alive in the pick 5. Let's see, it was 6, 1, and 1. And I believe Aaron is alive also in his pick 5. So, and they're both I don't remember what they had. Well, I do, but I'm not going to say it because I just said I'm not going to say it. But they're on the same horses here, so they may both be alive in the pick 5, and then they go wildly different. Well, different enough in the 5th leg, so we'll got that going there. So I couldn't read what it said in the comments, so I had to post it here so I can read it. I need to do something about this screen. It's too small for my old man eyes. But Racing Downwind is likes the 8 on top, but he hates the antics in the paddock, which I'm with you. Racing Downwind, it seems a little nerve-wracking, but I don't think it was terrible, but I only saw a little bit. So go ahead, Nick. Sorry, I was
gonna say I've changed a bet because a horse broke out of the gate, but I've never changed a bet because of how a horse was looking. And I'm not saying that I probably shouldn't have, but I just not something that I would be sick to my stomach if I liked this 8, saw that he was acting up in the gate or in the paddock, and then just said, okay, maybe I shouldn't like him as much, and he runs off the screen. So I'd much rather just lose with him and then later go like, okay, I guess he was acting up. Maybe next time he'll run good or something. But I just can't. I do like watching the horses, but it's not I guess maybe if someone wants to use it as a tiebreaker, but for me, I try to ignore it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm with you, especially when unless you've watched every one of them. And I know they're, like Naira and TVG have people who are at every race and they take notes. They know exactly what they look like. Oh, this one's sweaty every time before it races, or it always acts up before. But like, I've never seen this horse race before. I'm sure I have. Well, maybe not because it's coming in, but it's definitely one like maybe it does it all the time. Maybe it's how it acts. Maybe it's what it always does. And so unless I have some knowledge that it's doing something way different than what it's normally doing, I tend to just say like, unless it's terrible or there's some like you say, some massive thing that's going on. It's one that's hard to really get behind. Like, oh, I'm going to toss this one out because it's doing something goofy. So.
It's also too, like, I guess, if you're playing verticals, right, or in race bets, maybe it's something you can do. But here I am playing a horizontal. I was single to this horse an hour and a half ago. So, I mean, there's nothing I can do at this point. So,
yeah.
I hope that his antics do not cost him the race.
Dictate that.
So this is your pick 4. We had a pick. I don't think you ever actually made a pick 5. And we just kind of went through the sequence. So you kind of threw one together based on picks and what we were talking about. So you're singled here. You're on the 1, 2, 8, 9, 10 in the last, which, like we said, it's a 2-year-old 5 furlongs on the turf. So go as wide as you can, especially if you're singling before it. So that makes sense. And you hit our food double, so you're safe. And Dr. Tang was on the 1, 2, 6, 8, 10 here, and then singled at the next. So if you want to play your guys' singles, it's not paying very well, as we said, but it's it's you guys play different tickets for a reason, and maybe you guys will both hit, and nobody play the double, and everybody's happy. So they're loading in here. The 8 is still 8 to 5. The 1's down to 7 to 2, and the 2's down to 9 to 2. So taking a little bit of money, but everybody else is, there's a 7 to 1, and other than that, we're double digits. So unless something,
I'd really like the money to be right. This one, I'm alive in a double and a pick 3, so I'd like to cash.
Yeah.
And get to the last leg of the pick 4.
Yeah.
I tried 2 times to put money in to play this race, and I wasn't able to get money in last time. I wasn't able to get money in this time. So I'm no bets for me today, unfortunately, which is probably for the best in the grand scheme. And as they go out there, it's pretty even beginning.
Who's going to get the lead here? Everybody's trying to vie for it.
The 4
like that.
There you go. They said there was the 2, 4, 9 who I thought.
Yep. And the Chicklets have it as that. I think the 9 is actually further back. I think it's the 4 with a 2,
the 7,
6, 7, 9. Oh, and the 6 is making a move on the 4. So 6 makes a move on the 4 at the top of the stretch. And now a wall of horses coming. And your 8's getting a tough ride there, Nick. But if he's able to stay outside, he may have a chance because this is 21.88 for the quarter.
Yep.
And I think it's going to be a fast half, too.
Yeah.
8 looks like
45
he's
for
got
that.
some horse, but he's going to have to go like
Yeah.
10 wide here, which is not good. So
It's not good.
It hasn't been terrible at Del Mar on the dirt, but I don't
Is it
think
the
he's going to
lemon?
have
Is the
enough.
lemon sushi going to come in
Lemon
here?
sushi is looking strong for our double.
Or
What
is
was
it
the
the
two's
chief?
fighting back? The 6.
Ooh.
Ooh, I think the 6 gets it. 2 was there
no.
for a bob. 6-2-1 or 2-6-1 is how it's going to finish. But if you call that super chef and not super chief, we're going to say our food double is alive still.
Did the 2 or the 6 get there? Because
I thought the 6 got the bob, but I'm not going to.
Not even going to.
It's always sucky when your second pick wins.
At 6-1 on top of it. It wasn't like it was the
8-5.
I
should have. Well, I guess it's whatever. It is what it is.
Yeah.
The 8.
I mean, that's a tough one.
The 8 was not ready to run today. It was a bad effort.
Yeah. Looked like it had a chance, but it came around the top. It kind of broke out and, took around the turn like it had a chance, and then nothing kind of came of it. Kind of just ran in place.
Oh, I think
I think the 6 got the best of the bob, but it's just the pan shot from high up.
Man, what's this? This pick 4 could be nice to this one, or decent, couple $100. The pick 3 was paying better than I thought to some of these horses. I think.
I was going to say the pick 3
to the 6.
Who do we think it is here? Did he get?
I think it's the 6. What was the pick 3 paying to the 6, Nick?
For 50 cents is paying $60. So
okay. I mean, with a $6.60 winner and a $7 winner, and then a 6-1 winner, that's not terrible.
The 6 got it.
Okay.
Yeah. There we go.
Wow, look at that. 6-2-1. All my second. That's just the worst. Good capping, Dr. Tang. And the food double's alive. Good thing I backed up
the food double's alive too. Petit fileta, carne asada, or asada fries.
Yeah. Now we're talking.
I mean, asada fries in San Diego, you can't beat that. I mean, at Roberto's, I believe. I'm
they
just
have
giving the food tips now.
They have a bunch of Roberto's down there in San Diego.
Yes.
But they have an Alberto's, and they have a what was the other one? There's one other one that's in San Diego that ends in Berto's, and they kind of are all the same.
Alberto's? Is it Alberto?
Alberto's, Adalberto's, and Roberto's. That's right. So Adalberto's moved north some, and he's in Sacramento. So I may be hitting up Adalberto's if we eat asada fries home today.
Oh, you're getting – oh, boy.
And the 6 pays $15.20 to win. The 2 super chef is what we're going to call him because I'm great at reading. Ran second, but a $42 exacta with a 6-1 over a 4-1 is not a bad pay.
Not a bad. That's not bad at all.
So let's see. I'm going to double check real quick. Aaron did not have the 6 on his ticket, so we're going to say that he's dead. But Somich looks, I'm pretty sure it was his 3rd choice. So yeah, he's alive. He was wide there, so he's alive to 3 horses in this pick 5. So
yep, I'm alive to 1. So we'll see.
Somich has been great at Del Mar this week. It's been outrageous, if we're being honest. So I know in that opening day, he hit the $4,700 pick 4 races 2 through 4 that I missed the pick 5 by 1 horse. That had I paid attention to Somich that day, I would have hit the pick 5 for $96,000 and would have been a different afternoon. But here we are. So on to race 5, which is just, we talked about it enough that I'm not going to go over everything other than the fact that the asada fries, petite filet. If you're not playing an exacta box with those two, like you're watching cow bred 5 furlongs on a turf for 2-year-olds. Like it's as good of a handicapping job as you're going to need in this race. So, what else? I mean, we talked about Colonial Downs. Have both you guys looked at the Arlington Millions? Do you guys, either of you have ideas there?
Yeah, I like the Chad Brown Pratt
that's 10-1. That's right.
So
okay.
Oh, look right now. What race is it?
think it's a 10th race, right?
Okay, let's see.
I think it's second to last, I believe.
Arlington
Nick,
Million
have you looked at the other? You're playing there all day. Did you have anything else at Arlington that you or at Arlington? At
Yeah,
Colonial?
I mean, I was kind of
the Downs looks good.
the I don't know where the odds are going to lay out, but in back-to-back Grade 1 races, we've got Chad and Pratt on a 5-1 in the Philly race or the Beverly D. Gina Romantica coming off a layoff or coming second off of a long layoff. To me, it looks like Chad probably pointed this horse to this race and had a race to get it ready. So I like Gina Romantica a lot, and I liked and that one, I don't think I think is going to be a favorite, and it's coming out of the white beam in Italian race, and so I'm not sure. I think sometimes horses that just like run third in races like that sometimes get overbet just because of the who they're running against, but doesn't necessarily mean that they ran that great of a race. It was a 5-horse field, so
yeah,
we'll see. I don't know if that horse is going to go off the favorite, but it is the morning line favorite. So to me, it's a play against, and I like Gina Romantica. And let's see,
which race was that one in? Is it 9?
That's a race 9. And then I like in race 8's fun. It's a 3-year-old Grade 2 for colts, and there's some familiar names. Mustache, Major Dude's in it, and I think Silver Knot for Applebee's in it, who's not run that good this year, but so some familiar names there. I think Major Dude, Tyler. We just talked about Tyler G earlier. He's riding Major Dude, so I kind of like that horse in that spot. So,
yep, looks good. Yeah,
I was all excited because I got there in time, and then I looked and I was looking at today, so I was like, this is a dirt race, Nick, and it's a claiming race. Are you sure you're on the right one? But shockingly, I picked the wrong one, so I'm going to pull those ones up. Did you have an opinion, Doc, or you're still looking
on which race?
Sorry, let's start with race 8. Well, you were looking at race 10, right? The Arlington Million.
Yeah, I was looking at race 10. Do you want to go to 8, or what are we going to 8 now?
I don't know. I'm now at Delmar, so I've screwed this up. So just pick a race, any race. We'll get there.
Okay, let's go. The Secretary of States that we were talking about. Yeah, I was looking at. Major Dude looks good. More Than Looks, I like too. And let's go with the others. DeVoe with Velasquez on his Northern Invader. That looks decent, but it's going to have to. It's a class. I mean, it just broke its maiden, so it's kind of a huge class hike. But I mean, it's got Velasquez on board, so it's possible. I think.
The More Than Looks horse ran today at Saratoga, so that was scratch out of Colonial.
So that's gonna scratch. Okay, sorry about that. Oh yeah, ran in the Hall of Fame. You're right. Got third. Okay, so I think Major Dude then. Major Dude and maybe Northern Invader.
Yeah. I mean Silver Knot, like you said, it's like it makes sense. But only because of the races he's been running in. Like I know the name off the top of my head, so it's easy to get to. And so luckily I would say my tab. You guys would have got sick, but yeah, go ahead, Nick.
I would say Jamie Spencer's coming in to ride, and the horse is doing a major cutback back to a mile. Ran its best race in America at a mile in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile last year. And, I think a lot of people liked those two horses in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, Silver Knot and Victoria Road, and they both ran pretty good races. So I would say, depending on how this one gets bet, with just trying something new, I would expect it's not like it has run horrible in its races. It just doesn't look like it's improved much from 2 to 3.
Yeah.
And I think, part of the reason I like Major Dude is I think he's like getting sneaky disrespect almost. I think people are going to look at that last race and be like, okay, he just didn't, for me, it's a 1-turn mile at Belmont. Those are very weird turf races for horses that are 2-turn horses, which I think he is. The Penn Mile, I've seen really good horses go to Penn and win and lose. I don't, who knows what's going on with the turf there. But he did win the race. And then at Churchill, he ran a really good race. I actually thought he was going to win for a little bit against Webslinger and Far Bridge, who have run really, really well in grade 1s and grade 2s all year. And then he ran second to Two Phils, who's what was at the time arguably maybe the best 3-year-old dirt horse in the country. And then before that, he won a grade 3. So I just think he's a solid horse. I think you're going to get a good effort. And some of these other ones I think have question marks. So I like them, especially at 6-1.
Yeah. I mean, I think that if you do get that 3-1, which it's Appleby, I think you may, because it's Colonial, and maybe they're just going to bet it because of what's in the Breeders' Cup. But it feels like one that, like you say, it's like you can make a case against it pretty easily. And if you're going to get any sort of a price, which it looks like you'll get at least halfway decent on most of these, you can make a case for a lot of them there. So I like that idea a lot. And we're going to go back and look at the Beverly D because it's there, and it's not a whole lot of horses. Didia is coming in, and Missing Sin, I feel like I've lost money on that horse enough times. And Rover is 2-1 as the favorite. I have not looked at these races, so you can tell I can't even pronounce her names nor see the line. So I'll throw it back to Nick because he's looked at these races, and I know you just had a brief talk, but one more time just for the sake of it.
Yeah, Rocky Sky will scratch out of here. He ran today.
Yeah, he ran today.
He got upset, of course, by the other Chad. But to me, it's not going to be a great betting race because I think I guess if Fed Rover takes money and is the favorite, then to me it's a great betting race because I really like the 6 and I really like the 5. And I would, to me, that's like a hammer exacta.
Okay. Yeah, and I always like the idea of, it's weird because on the East Coast, they enter into 2 races and they scratch out of them. It's not a big deal because Virginia to Saratoga is in Arlington, Virginia, real close to Saratoga. But Chad Brown had 2 in here and he scratched one of them out. So having him scratch that one out feels like maybe he's saying something about Gina Romantica, and then you get Pratt aboard. And I don't know if Pratt's coming for one particular horse or if he's coming for all the horses, but getting Pratt down to Colonial is an interesting idea. So
I think he's coming for the 2, Gina Romantica, and the next race, Ed Hamo. It's 2 grade 1 turf races that Chad's putting horses in, and it's pretty clear that Pratt is now his number 1 person. So, I mean, maybe especially on turf, but even I've seen him. Guess who was on Ways and Means, and that horse looks like it's an absolute beast. And that was Pratt. So
that's true.
I think Irad has gravitated a little bit more towards Pletcher of recent, and I think Chad has kind of let Pratt now become his number 1.
Well, and I was able to switch it, and you can't tell behind us because if you looked at the background, Magic would yell at me with the background switch. But this is only on the Magic Mike show board that I get to play.
Swing, tentpole.
So, we're going to do it. We're going to do it. Last time it was hard to get over there, but this time it's worth it because now we get to, talk about our boy Pratt. So, have you looked at this race? I gave you 30 seconds, Dr. Tang, so I'm sure you have a strong opinion now.
Oh yeah. So I did this capping here. So with this, I like what Feldy likes here. I think, the 5 and 6 are very strong here. I don't have anything against those at all, especially if they're going to go off at if the 1 takes money, as he said. I think we can get some good prices on them. Maybe the 5 will stay 3-1, and then the 6. If the 1 takes money, the 5 takes a little money. Maybe the 6 will stay at 4-1 or 5-1. That'd be a great price on Gina Romantica.
Yeah, I looked at. I don't know. It must have been opening weekend of Del Mar, and there was 2 days in a row that Colonial on the turf, the number 1 horse, won every race. And I haven't looked recently, but I was just looking at that, and the pick 5 paid outrageously, and it was 1s all the way down. It was like, wow, that looks like a bias of some sort. I didn't watch a single race, so maybe they were all the favorites or something. But I don't know how that course plays, and I'm not going to pretend to have some strong opinion there.
Brisnet is saying that the rail through the rail has an impact value of a 21% win chance right now in 14 races, which I mean, I guess that's what 10% is. So that's like 3 races out of 14. So I mean, the numbers are a little skewed just because of, but if you add in post 1 through 3, it's at 30, almost 40%. So it's
wow.
I don't know how big of fields they've had either. That could impact that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
They've been pretty full though. Colonial gets a pretty good fields drawn because they're one of the higher paying turf races, and they're close to the Mid-Atlantic. So your Monmouth horses, your Maryland horses, your Pennsylvania horses can all kind of go there, and some of those Kentucky ones seem to also be coming in pretty frequently enough that it's not a walkover. And so last one we'll do real quick because we still got 12 minutes till a 5 furlong turf.
Looks like Shoddy's got some inside information here. It says Diddy is going to be scratching. So
wow. Via DRF, it says.
So we will see if she's right. We're not going to blame Shoddy because she's saying DRF's doing it. So at the very least, she has some cover. That's some hardcore journalism there by Shoddy, citing her sources to ensure that when she's wrong, it goes, But Diddy is scratching is
that'd be a big scratch for that race.
Yeah. So yeah, that would. I mean, and we just said that Rocky Sky also scratching, so down to a 5-horse field, which maybe then you kind of got to go back to Fev Rover and
well, just play now. Gina Romantica is going to be 9 to 5 or even money. So
yeah.
So that race went from being kind of interesting to maybe kind of not, but we'll see. It's why they run them, I suppose. This race, on the other hand, is interesting, and I know that the probables started with 6 or 7, and they ended up getting 11. And it wasn't like they filtered in with some of these Colonial Downs runners. They got Rock Emperor to come, and Catnip to come, and Santine to come, and enough big time horses for $1 million. So Nick, I know that you actually looked at this, so I'll give Dr. Tang another 15 seconds to make a real strong case. But where do you think on the Arlington Millions ran at Colonial Downs presented by Churchill Downs?
I think this is a race full of dogs, and that Chad at 10 to 1 is so disrespectful. So Ed Hamo looks to me like he likes longer, and he's fresh off the layoff. Chad's really good at this. Pratt's coming in. And this field to me is not strong. I think I'm not sure what Walsh did with Santine. That horse had won a grade 1 at 9 furlongs, then comes back a month later, 2 months later, wins another grade 1 at 9 furlongs, and then runs in 7 more races and hasn't run back at that distance only one time. And it's tried dirt and weird. I used to love that horse, but he's just, to me, he's out of form. I do think, so 9 would be my top pick. And then I think the 7 getting one more chance to try to wire a field in this spot, I think is a little dangerous. That horse is it was up and coming and got to turf and then won a couple races and then went into the deep end, and it didn't run that well last time. But this time you're going to get the second chance of doing something. And in these longer turf races, lone speed can be very difficult to chase down. So I'd really like to see the 7 run better. And then I like 9 if Chad really has them ready. Pratt's coming here. I can't imagine that they're trying to just not do good in a grade 1. So I would think the 9 is And I like that Racing Downwind also likes the 7. That's good to hear. So those are I really don't know. I might find someone else, if someone else likes something, but to me, I'm pretty strong with those 2 horses.
Well, and I was going to say that Catnip is coming out of that race at Monmouth, the United Nations at grade 1, where he ran second. So I would be shocked if we get 8 to 1 on that one. This one feels like some of these prices seem too high, but I guess in a parimutuel game, they all have to be higher, or one's got to be low. And I don't know who's going to be the one that gets bet heavy here. So maybe you do get a decent price. Dr. Tang, where are you landing or leaning or thinking about?
I mean, I think the Browns are strong if you're going to get those morning line numbers, but Pratt and Brown, I think Adamo is going to be a strong contender, but I doubt you're going to get 10-1 on him. I mean, one out of the box horse. This horse has beat me a couple times. Masterpiece. My only, I don't know. The Dutro takes over for Safi Joseph. That sounds very familiar.
He did the same thing with the Whitney winner, White
Yes. Yep. And I was going to say, and Dr. Tang froze a little bit, so I'll start talking until he comes back. I was going to land a little bit on Masterpiece as well, given what I'm looking at. He ran last time at Belmont an optional claiming going 8.5, but it ran the last two going 11 and 12 furlongs, and now getting back to the 10 furlongs. Felt like that last one may be a prep and stretching back out that Masterpiece may fit here. So Dr. Tang looks to still be a little frozen. So yeah, I mean Dutro, I don't know anything about Dutro other than the fact that he won with Whitebaro, and there were lots of jokes when he won. So I know he was thrown out for 10 years, and he's basically Jason Service before Jason Service, it sounds like, but no jail time, just horse racing jail.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean this race looks kind of wide open.
Sorry about that.
You're okay. With a grade 1 for $1 million, you kind of want to see a wide open race like that, and seeing how you got 11 that seem like they're going to have a shot. I think you get a pretty decent price in whatever you liked here. So we got half of what you were talking about there with Masterpiece, Dr. Tang. Any other ones that you kind of fell on?
No, I think the Browns, I said, he hold the keys to the race. So just the Masterpiece was kind of my flyer.
Yep. Yeah, that was all, it's going to be fun, and $1 million in Colonial, which is like we've decided earlier today, close to Arlington, Virginia. Whether it is or not, we're going to say that it is. And of course, their Colonial is doing a NYRA thing where they throw a optional claiming on the turf, mile and 16th with 12 horses to end their pick 5 for the day. So good luck playing that pick 5. I do know that the Colonial pick 5s are 12%, and their pick 6 is $1 with a 12% takeout. So if you are playing, that seems like a good one to kind of get involved with. They're a good spot to at least have a chance. So we will switch back over to, maybe we won't. I got rid of it. Just us now. Let me see if I can't share the screen. So last race, and our pick 5s are, have you looked at the wheel pace, Nick? I didn't.
I have the wheel pace here. My one is paying $10.35. So if anybody played that $90 ticket, it's a pretty good ROI if the one wins.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
And then Asada Fries I think is the shortest price at $8.99, and Petite Filet, which that says paying $2,832. I didn't check what our food double is paying though.
Shoddy posted it a minute ago. The 8 is paying $82.60 for $2, and the 9 is paying $140 for $2. So
that 140 will get you a nice Petite Filet, and the 80 will get you a lot of Asada Fries.
There you go. Yep. So let me share this one more time, just because we're always better to have something to look at that isn't the three of us. So we've talked about this race enough. I am a little shocked. I guess I shouldn't be shocked, because we talked about what these will pay or what the probables we're looking at. But the one at 8-5, how do you play 8-5 on a first time starter? Like, that's the part I guess I'll never understand. And maybe it's if it's Baffert with the 1, it's like, oh yeah, that one's going to be great. So it's Baffert, play it at 8-5. But in a 9-horse field on the turf, like on the rail, like, I'll take any chance I can to get away from that one in a win.
The way to play it is just how we did with our food double, right? I mean, you're turning a $2 bet is now 86 to 43 to 1. So that's the power of the multis, right? And like finding the value. And the other thing people say too, I mean, I think I know where you're going with it, right? There's a lot of uncertainty with the first time starter. But in some cases, you could argue like some of these horses are never going to win a race in their life. So
Yeah.
if this
Yeah.
horse
You're
can
right.
run and people know it can run,
Yeah.
I could argue it's probably I'm not going to say a safe bet, but I don't know. I'm just saying, like, it feels like sometimes in these races that these horses that get bet like this, I mean, seem to be better than other horses in races where they're just more competitive.
Yeah. And that, I know that Formulator can do stats like this, and maybe at some point I'll invest in DRF, but looking at what the favorite in a first time starter race is, because you have the 7s ran twice and none of the other horses have ran. So, like you say, maybe there is some comfort in knowing, like, JJ Hernandez is up on this one and Mullins is telling everybody this is his horse or whatever it is. And when you look at the workouts, right, like I looked at this one and said, yep, that's the one that's likely to win. And then I looked at everybody else and everybody else is on this one too, except for Mike Somich. So it's one of those, like, all right, well, maybe it can run and maybe it is, 8-5 is the best price you'll ever get on this one. And the next 3 races, it goes off at 3-5 and 4-5. But in a win capacity, I guess I sit it out or I bet against it. And because I can't get any money into an account, I'm going to sit it out, but I would most certainly be firing against it in this sort of spot. So,
It's on the rail too. That's sometimes tough
a little tricky for the
first time starter. So,
Yeah.
I agree. I think you could, it's just like with anything. If you love the horse right now, you've got great value in the double, or in, like in the pick 5 or pick 4, if you were single to this, like Dr. Tang is, I mean, that's, depending on your ticket, you're getting great value for an 8-5. Yeah. If you're just trying to win bet this horse, then I'd argue, you're right. Why would, I'd pass and wait for another opportunity.
Yeah. So I will give Dr. Tang credit that he did say the 4, 5, 6, and 7 in the pick 5. I was just too slow to get it up, but we have been posting his pick 4. So we'll at least give you credit for that one of hitting when it hits Dr. Tang. But me and Nick know that you gave the pick 5 out. It's just our tardiness over here. So
I wish I would have bet it.
You and me both. I'm just going to start asking Dr. Tang for tickets. Like, hey, Dr. Tang, you want to go on today? Oh, I can't. Oh, well, just send me a ticket anyways, and we'll just play that. Maybe it'll make me a better player in the end. I do want to talk real quick. I don't know if either of you looked at it, but the next race here is the graduation stakes. I don't think we're going to stay on because my wife is telling me we're going out for dinner here because I'm going to get petite filet and
petite filet. Very nice.
Fries. But,
there we go.
It's a 2-year-old stake race. I believe Calbred's going 5.5 on dirt. If you, again, at least these ones all have a start under their belt, so you have some belief that you know what's going on. Did either of you look at this race or have anything going on here? I'm with you.
I mean, the one looks like it's an obvious kind of favorite. It ran a really good maiden breaker and then went straight into an open company stakes race and ran decent. I guess third out of 5 horses. It was 8 lengths behind the winner. I don't know what that means. It hasn't run in a while, so it's gotten more time to develop. You got the Redham Racing trio there of Gutierrez and Doug O'Neill. They've won 2 derbies together, so that horse, I would guess, is absolutely hammered again.
The double from the one here to the one there is $15 for 2, so 7.5 to 1. Not hammered quite as much as the one in this race 5, but definitely looks like the one taking money. The other one taking at least a little bit of money currently is the 5 Smoke 'em Easy, who's coming off of a 90-day layoff, but won its maiden special weight at Santa Anita, going 4.5. So it looks like, I always feel weird saying it looks like it wants to do a thing because it's ran one time and it just got into that one spot. But this is a hard double for me to have any strong feelings and wanting to say anything too much because, they're 2-year-olds, dude.
The 5 also broke its maiden against Open Company, and it's a Calbred. So that I think that you take that for what it's worth. I think there's a lot of they're young horses, so to me, they've all probably won gate to wire or won up front. Yep. So to me, there's a lot of speed in this race, which I'd probably be looking for a horse that you think might be able to rate,
like the 3 maybe,
and be able to sit off.
3. Yep.
And that's a good, that horse has experience. It's rated before, went into an open company listed stakes. I don't know where PIN is, but
Pleasanton.
Pleasanton.
The
PLN.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then now it's coming back, and it gets Juan Hernandez and it's Peter Miller. So
Peter Miller. Yep.
That's a good option. The 8 looks a little interesting to me. It also coming out of that same race as the 3.
Yep.
And it actually finished ahead of the 3. And it, one gate to wire. Then its second race, it looks like it chased probably Lone Speed. But it did pass horses, or no, it didn't pass anybody, but it didn't let anyone pass it, and it gained a little bit at the end. I kind of like that horse.
The 8 in the graduation does, in that Pleasanton race, that winner was out pretty far in front and looked like it was getting tired, and they kind of came. It was a closer finish than it seems like it should have been, but it was 11-1, and it just kind of ran them off their feet.
9, or Petite Filet has scratched.
Oh no! Now, what do you get? A consolation payout?
Yeah, you get a consolation payout
with the favorite. Ugh.
Well,
no, I don't think it does.
No, you don't. You just get a consolation, if that makes sense.
Oh, you do. Oh, that's right. You get a payout of whatever.
Yes,
that's right.
Which is not. It's not going to pay for your Petite Filet.
No, it may even not pay for all of our carne asada fries. We may get 1 or 2 carne asada fries.
Oh boy! And then if you had it in the pick 4, pick 5s, you'll get the favorite.
Gotcha,
pick
that's
4,
right.
yeah, you'll get the favorite. Yeah, pick 4, pick 5. So you're going to get the 1. Lovely.
Well, yeah. So the pick 4 starts here, so you'll get So make sure you fix those tickets if you got
Which
them.
means that is actually you're going to get less payout on your pick 5 on the 1.
Yeah. Even less.
Yeah, that hurts the. Now, yeah, that hurts the 1. That's that reminds me of. Remember when I can't remember what race it was, but it's just like it was like it might have been a Breeders' Cup race where the scratch happened late, and then everybody gets the favorite, and it's just really screws you.
That was the Modern Games, I believe, right?
Modern Games ran for purse money, so that was even worse.
That was a favorite at the time, and then it got scratched, and you got put on some.
Yeah,
and then it won. Modern Games won, right? And then you got paid for this. That was a mess.
Well, and that's the one that what's his name won.
We got another scratch. We got another scratch.
I
don't know who.
Tis the Bomb won that turf.
You're right. Tis the Bomb won that. Yes, Tis the Bomb won that.
That horse just still ran last week, and I somehow still bet on Tis the Bomb 3 years later, knowing full well that I shouldn't be betting on Tis the Bomb, but here I am doing it anyway. So and these, I understand it's Friday and it's the middle of the card, so I can't complain too loudly. And they got to get these 2-year-old races in, but doing them back to back feels a little tough to start the pick 5 and start the pick 4. Or I guess it's the pick 4 starts in this race, so. Starting the late pick 4 with this one I guess that's where you put it though, right? Is that what you get both of them? You get an idea on the pick 4. I don't know where else to put them. So I guess the 2 is scratched now. So we got the 2.
So now here's another. Now if the 1 wins, you're really getting
diluted us more.
Wow.
Sorry, guys. Well,
so your original $1,000 pick 5 is now paying $758.
Well, after the 2 is probably going to go down even further, folks.
Yeah.
This is not good.
And it would be, yeah.
Yeah, when usually this happens, this means the 1 doesn't win. something crazy happened.
Yeah. This is
Yeah, I get. Oh, the 9 fell over. Okay, the update is the 9 fell over backwards onto another horse at the gate. And then somehow the 2 got loose 3 minutes later. So the Del Mar Gate crew is doing a fantastic job right now. He's getting a lot of love.
2-year-old Calbreds on the turf. Like, you know what? That's what's going to happen. That's
Yeah.
when you play food
Yeah.
double in this race. That's why you're doing this. It makes as much sense as anything else.
And now all the jockeys are off.
Look
And
at
they're moving the gate somehow or something.
Look at the pick 5 now is 500 to the 1.
Ugh,
Oh,
that's brutal.
But why is everybody affected? Like the 3 is only 600.
and the 8 went down to 473, and it was 900.
Yeah, I don't know why that would be affected either. I don't know. That doesn't make sense.
I wonder if they because they don't know who actually is going favorite right now, they're just kind of
Maneuvering
estimating.
the numbers.
Yeah. They're moving the number to what it would be if they go favorite, and then it'll reset.
Maybe.
I've never seen that before.
It's just moving the numbers so at the end when you finally hit it, you get something and they'll be like, well, who knows what it was? It was something that we told you be between. That's like the essence of it.
You didn't see. So one of the things that makes me laugh more than anything is that they scratched a horse out of Saratoga because they accidentally scratched it on Equibase,
yes.
and then they ran it for purse money only, and it had no impact on the race.
Yes.
But it feels very much like that right now, where it's like these horses are scratched, so at some point we're going to flash a number you're going to get. We aren't going to tell you at the end. We're going to tell you eventually you're going to get a number. The number's not moving makes me think that what Nick's saying is right, that it's going to be a
sorry, yeah,
that's
my
what you get.
nuts. And it was after those 2 scratches. It knew that it was my payout was going from 1,500, so it was going to lose the baby food and the diapers. So that's why.
Oh no, she was on Petit Play. She had a move. She had a play there, and she's real moved.
Exactly. Now what happens? The only one is affected is the 1. Yeah, okay, that's what I thought.
So I think what he's racing dudes or racing down when maybe clarify. I have a question here. Does that mean that the initial number, the $1,000 number we saw, or the number we're seeing now, which I'm going with these
the number
scratches,
we're seeing now? Yeah,
right. That makes sense. And so
the
you're going
thing
to end
is,
up with
if the 1 doesn't win, then I'm guessing the other will pays will go up.
The other will pays will go back to revert to what they were probably.
Yeah,
I mean, they shouldn't be affected at all.
Well, actually, maybe even higher because the pool gets because if the 1 doesn't win, if you were on the 2 or the 9 and the 1 doesn't win,
all that money goes in there, right?
All that money goes, so you actually have a higher will pay on like the 3, for example.
Mm-hmm.
I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Again, this is horse racing math. Where's Somich?
Yeah, seriously.
We have another scratch.
No way.
Oh wait,
another
sorry.
one.
No,
After?
I looked at the wrong race. Sorry.
Okay.
I just saw
at some point.
It popped up on the TV. It said the horse is scratched, but they're
At
talking
some
about a
point,
different
it'll
race.
be a match race. It'll
Yeah.
be a match
I was
race
going to say
between
at some point
2-year-olds.
They're going to scratch this down to an all race. So everybody gets an all. They're going to move to the dirt for some reason because it's Saratoga, and they're just going to say, "Yep, it's an all race. Everybody gets $25."
Oh, gosh. So all the jockeys are off. What happened to the gate?
They've changed the distance too, just to mess with us. Like, yep, we got fewer horses. We're going to go to a mile now. Not really. I'm just kidding. Just a joke, everybody. It seems like a thing they would do, though. Man, those pick 4s got way knocked down too. The pick 4 to the 1's now paying $145. Ouch. Well, this was fun for a little bit, and then
that's not good. Yeah, Kevin B. Oh, so let me put. Yeah, the gate drove away. I don't understand. No, it's back now.
Yep. No. Yeah, and they're getting back on the horses. The 1 just got mounted. The jockeys are walking in. I always like looking at the turf as people actually walk on it. And you see that it actually goes up to like their ankles, and like how thick that grass actually is. Like, oh yeah, it's turf. It's like, no, unless it's Gulfstream, it's actually like weeds and like 6 inches deep.
Yep. Exactly.
Yeah, and I think this is worse than kindergarten because you get 1,000-pound kindergartners.
Yeah.
So it's
like preschool.
It's preschool with 20 preschoolers and 5 teachers, and the preschoolers can win in a fight against the teachers.
Yeah, this
So
is
we do
setting
have-
up for like a random bomb now to come in just because.
Yeah, I told this is like set up for it. That's the thing now.
So what I will tell you is that what I normally see in a 2-year-old turf race is it sets up for a random bomb. So I would have picked some random bomb anyways. My problem normally is that I end up on the one that gets scratched out of this. So like I was on the 1 and the 2 with this race, and the 2 wasn't a bomb, but like, yep, scratched out because I like that one a little bit. So
The 1 is now not wanting to load, so here we go.
This is the race that we need to be able to show the stream just so everybody can see, like, watch what we're talking about, because like, how is this possible? Like, how this race was supposed to go off 15 minutes ago?
15 minutes ago, and now I have 2 scratches in.
And they moved the post time up to 3:30 so that they don't have to be in the sun at 7 o'clock when the sun's going down, but it's foggy.
Yeah,
the sun won't be out, so why not just run it at 4 o'clock? And
this one looks like the one they're opening the front of the gate, now they're closing the gate. I do not like this one at all right now. Looking at this by the looks, I'm not a horse whisperer, but
you're not a horse doctor, but you are a doctor.
No,
so.
I'm not a horse doctor at all.
I'll stick with the Asada Fries as top pick. I like the 8-1 as my A's. I'm going with the 8.
Well, the Asada Fry. The weird thing was Asada Fries was lower payout than the 1. Who's the favorite now? Is it still the 1?
1's the
horrible. The 10 broke out like a shot.
1 and 8 to the back because of course they are. 10 way out there in front.
3 looks good coming up the rail at 11-1. The 1's making up some progress here. 3's strong. 10 looks good. 1 is now coming on.
If
1's going to need
wins,
to be a beast.
Yeah. Well, it looks like it is based on how well it's been running. And
the 10 is in a hand ride right now.
Yeah, so is the 1 though.
Yeah, the 10. Oh, here comes the 1. It's going to be.
10's going to get him, I think.
The 10 will win.
1's going to make one last move, and if the 10 gets tired, 10 gets tired. Ooh, and the 8 came flying. So 10, 1, 3, 8 to end it. So, of course,
this is what happens when.
Yeah, 9-2.
Hey, I had the 10. If the 8 wins, I'd hit.
Wow. So let's see what these will pays are. Now we got to stick around to at least see what these payout are. So
there was someone in our chat that liked the 10. We got to go back and find that. I remember.
Prancing through Paris.
It goes a food double.
Well, Shoddy, if you squint and you're prancing through Paris, you're eating all sorts of French food. Yeah. Maybe you can make some French cuisine doubles here. 10, 1, 3, 8. I don't know that you saw anything that was worth knowing in that race. I mean, they went pretty much gate to wire. The 1 broke terribly and then raced up and then caught him. So seems like it'll be perfectly fine. The 6-5 makes sense.
The 10 looked pretty good. He broke really well. Then he didn't freak out when other horses kind of came up inside of him, and he rated a little bit and then took off in the stretch. So I thought that was a pretty good first race for the 10.
So I will, now that the race is over, Somich was on the 8, 3, and 2 for the pick 5, and so he did get the 2 scratched. The 3 ran 3rd, and the 8 ended up in 4th, but it looked like it was coming. I don't see. Yeah, nobody else was on the 10, so 10 was not anything that.
Yeah, I didn't like the 10 at all. Before I mean, the bad break on the 1 costed, I think, the race. So the 3 didn't break well either. These are 2-year-olds, so we're gonna have to look at some trips and see, what comes about it.
I will say the one I've been looking more and more at Calbred breeding, and Sir Prancelot has been doing really well on the turf. So it means very little. It's like 3 races that I noticed it in, but there's a horse sale at Pleasanton next Tuesday that I been getting sick that I may just go and watch because it sounds like fun. Not going to get any $4 million Curlins in that sale, but
the 10 paid $1,797.
Wowzers!
But see, that's where the balloon came up when the one. Anyways, yep,
1,700 for the pick 5. What was the pick 4?
A 574.
Okay, so not. I mean, you had to get to the non-favorite in that race basically with the scratches, and then it became pretty good. Yeah.
Wow.
All right. Well, Shoddy's leaving us, which I think that's a sign that we all have to leave.
When Shoddy leaves, then we all go home. It's like when Elvis leaves the building.
Yep. If Shoddy was staying, we would be talking about the next race 6, which we've already talked about. And it's a pretty comparable race where it's they all have at least one race on them.
Yep.
I'm going to call out Last Call London as my my choice here, and it's 6-1. I hope I get anywhere.
Nice one to go off of Last Call London. Absolutely.
And then I can say that I did it.
I'm going Wild Jewels.
Wild Jewels.
Nice.
8.
Okay. I'll take Salsation then.
Okay. So then everybody else in the chat, we have enough of you in there that you guys are all on the 1, 2, 4, 5, and 7, or 1, 2, 4, 5, and 6. So we got this one covered. We hit the all button with everybody. So you guys send the money into Magic, and I'm sure he'll pay us out for it. So I don't think there's any live streams for the dudes tomorrow. I believe they are not doing that. So I don't have anything else to talk about. Buy the Somobombs because he was very close today.
Yep.
I'd recommend Del Mar, and they actually covered the late pick 5 for the podcast for those guys. Aaron and Jared went Dudes After Dark at 10 p.m. Eastern live stream yesterday, and I will definitely tell you that it was fun to listen to them bitch and complain about horse racing and how it's dead and they aren't getting young people in it. And as they're on YouTube talking to a bunch of young people, I mean, I'm going to consider myself a young person in this realm, which is it's quite sad when a 40-year-old is a young person in a game. But here we are, the three of us, the young guys apparently. So, Nick, anything else you want to mention before we get out of here?
No, just a fun as always. Great time with you guys. Love being able to do this at Del Mar, and hopefully everybody has a good day tomorrow, and we'll be back soon.
Yeah.
Yep.
The plan is for these Friday shows, I'm going to be in Reno next weekend, and that's going to be the best. Is I going for a buddy's birthday. He turns 40, so I told him I'll be there. I'm going to be there early. I'll hang out with you during the day, and then I'm going to do a live stream for a couple hours. So I may have you guys on here with next week. Remington Park opens, and so I was talking to Davey, who lives in Oklahoma, and he wants to talk about Remington Park opening day. So they first post for them is 5:00 Pacific, so we may be able to get 2 or 3 of those races in. So get your Remington Park hats on. Get ready for that Springboard Mile. It's going to be 6 months, 5 months from now, but Remington. Well, how can go wrong? All right, guys. So that was fun. That's all I got. Well, oh wait, I got to get the outro. I do this every time where I'm like, oh, we're gonna get out of here, and then there's actually a button I have to find and push. And
good luck this weekend to everybody.
Yeah. Good luck, everybody. And I'm gonna just play the intro or the outro because what else are you gonna do? There you go.